So with that, we will go ahead and call this meeting to order. I appreciate everybody being here this evening. We do have a robust agenda, so we'll get right into it. So, Madam Clerk, or Madam Deputy Clerk, if you'd please conduct a roll call.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, I apologize. Let me go do the welcome, and then we'll switch over to that. I looked down and said call to order, and I got trigger happy on that. So first, we will begin with our fire chaplain, Archbishop Anthony Slater. If you come forward, lead us in prayer, and then if everyone would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Council, staff. Let us pray. Our Father and our God, we thank you for this opportunity again, Lord, that we can call on your name before business. We need you in this city, Lord, and all the things that are coming and all the things that are happening. Father, we ask you to give us wisdom today and even hear the voice of the people, Lord. In the name of Jesus, we thank you. Amen.
Amen. If you'd join me in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, now, and if everyone would just make sure that you're logged into the meeting, and I will be getting there myself. Madam Deputy Clerk, if you would please conduct a roll call.
Yes, sir. Mayor Gaylor.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Jones.
Present.
Councilman Boyette.
Present.
Councilwoman Taylor.
Present.
Councilwoman Weeks.
Present.
Councilwoman Matthews.
Present.
Councilman White.
Present.
All right, all present and accounted for. Appreciate everybody's time. I realize how busy and how many demands on our time we have going on, but we continue to be present and to be able to be here, and I appreciate it. All right, let's move forward with an adoption of the agenda. Council, a draft agenda is presented for adoption. Is there any, Mr. Livingston, are there any changes from staff side?
No, sir. Mr.
Council,
Mayor.
are there any proposed changes from council side? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
All right, motion has been made and properly seconded by the Pro Tem to adopt the agenda as the business order of the day as presented. Mrs. Reese, when you are ready, we'll vote electronically.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me know. It should pop up, and if it doesn't momentarily, then we'll just call the vote by hand. Has it popped up for anybody else? Not yet. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed, same sign. Seeing none, motion passes unanimously. All right, Mr. Livingston, if you would please walk us through item 4.1.
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight, my pleasure to introduce you to our new Deputy Public Works Director. It's a practice that we're starting to do with our major management hires, just to introduce you to them. And so he is here with Jamie, our new Public Works Director, and to kind of give him a brief overview of Mr. Gilbert Todd.
I'm sure you can hear me. Glad to be back. It's like I'm here every week. We're fortunate to have Gilbert Todd here with us. He has got direct experience in public works and city management. He's also worked with the city of Raleigh in their planning department. So he's got a lot of experience in how cities operate. And so that's going to be a big plus for me because I'm limited in that area. But he's been here about a week, and he's really enthusiastic, and he's learning what we do. And we're just fortunate to have him on our team.
Yeah, I'll be real brief. I know we got a robust agenda. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm very excited. Started last Wednesday. Things have been a blur ever since. It's a lot that goes on, but Jamie and the team, I mean, they know exactly what they're doing. I'm excited to get started and to get plugged into this public works group. So thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. And welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
All right, Mr. Livingston, thank you for doing things like that. We do, we've tried it a couple of different ways, but high-level hires in this administration, we do want to make sure that council gets to meet and that the public gets to see face with the name. So thank you for doing that, and please do continue doing it. And now, if you take us through item 4.2.
Item 4.2 is our Employee and Supervisor of the Year Awards. If I may, I'll just take the resolution proclamation and read it out. Okay, good evening, everybody. Can everybody hear me? Tonight we have Employee of the Year Award, and I'm pleased to present this one to Kim Powell, but let me first read this to you. Employee of the Year Award is a huge achievement, entire year, to Kim Powell for outstanding achievement. Kim is professional in every aspect of her duties as the City of Goldsboro's industrial nurse. She cares about every employee that works for the city. Her passion to make her employees feel comfortable in time of injuries or sickness always shines through. She welcomes you every day with a good morning and how are you today with a giant smile. This is absolutely true. I can attest to that. Kim has scheduled numerous hearing tests, blood drives, flu shots, and trained employees in CPR and first aid. The health field is sometimes a thankless job, but she shines and makes her career a priority in every sense of the word. Her faith and compassion make her an asset to the human resources team. Stepping into this position right after COVID, she has built trust and friendship with employees. Now, many employees come by to see Kim just to talk and maybe get a little encouragement. She is a true professional in the City of Goldsboro. Employees are lucky to have Kim Powell as their nurse. You can count on Kim for any task or just to help out on a committee. Kim's work ethic and accomplishments reflect well on herself and the City of Goldsboro. Awarded this day, August 18th, 2025. I'm sure Bernadette's here, probably wanting to say a few words.
I'm supposed to say a few words, Bernadette.
It's tradition.
On behalf of not only our HR department, but the entire workforce of the City of Goldsboro, I really want to say 2 words to Kim, and that's thank you. She has been a vital asset to our organization. She made a great decision when she decided to transition from UNC Wayne to the City of Goldsboro, and again, we want to say thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks. I just want to say that this is a huge honor, and to receive this recognition, it means the entire world to me. I was very, very shocked when I found out. But I'm also extremely blessed to be able to wake up every single day and show up for a job that I consider my love and my passion. I love the City of Goldsboro employees, and I do want to show up for them. I want to encourage health and wellness and safety, and every day it's just an honor to be able to show up and work with everyone. And not just, I'm very grateful for my HR department that I work for, but also every department within the city. You know, every one of the different departments, all the employees really have my heart. So I really appreciate it, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Kim. Okay, congratulations, Kim. You really are making a difference every day for the employees here and the community. The next one is the Supervisor of the Year Award, and this is awarded to Chris Mooney and David Lee for outstanding achievement. These 2 employees have worked together on several projects, most recently the Virginia Street project, where crews rerouted storm drain pipe from under homes that were causing water problems. Both crews are currently working on similar projects in Musgrave Manor, where crews are upsizing stormwater pipes in their subdivisions. Actually, they've already done that, and they've completed, I gotta say, they've completed that and saved a lot of money by doing that in-house. But by setting aside some of their smaller projects and doing the work in-house, these 2 men and the crews have saved over $500,000. Both Mr. Mooney and Mr. Lee have several compliments from the community where their work is taking place. I'm very proud of the teamwork these 2 have displayed and the feedback I've received from the community. When we talk about professionalism, integrity, and customer service, these 2 employees set a standard for others to follow. David's work ethic and accomplishments reflect well on himself and the city of Goldsboro, awarded this day, August 18th, 2025. Is Chris or anybody here? Oh, there they are. We had to split the money too. We split the money on this one.
Give me 500 out of your pocket. Okay.
Anyhow, you guys have the floor now. I guess if they want to, I'm sure there's some things that you guys want to say, so I'm gonna let you guys take them.
I'll go last.
I just want to tell everybody thank you. It's an honor to get this award. My crew, my leadership, everybody. Just want to tell you thank you. My wife for putting up with me when I get home ill. Just putting that out there. And one other thing, thank the dear Lord for giving me the opportunity to receive this.
I just want to say it's an honor. No.
They can hear you.
Okay. I just want to say it's an honor to get this recognition. Special thanks to the upper leadership, management, as well as my crew. I couldn't do it every day. They come to work, and every day is a productive day. So I just want to say thank you.
I don't need that. I just want to short and sweet. These two embody our values with the city. It shows what two departments, not just working side by side, but working hand in hand, can accomplish. I thank you guys for your communication, your collaboration, your leadership, and your commitment to the city.
I can say it's fun to be around these guys because they really go after it hard. And the coordination between streets and stormwater on large projects, projects we've never attempted before in the history of the city's public works department. I mean, this was over 1,200 feet of 30-inch pipe through Musgrave Manor. It was a tremendous project. But we also got to give credit to engineering. Our in-house engineering department created plans for both of these projects. And so it just shows how we're evolving and getting more professional. And we've also, in the last couple of years, we really have a better working relationship with DOT, whether it's street maintenance or culvert or stormwater. We're really reaching out to Jennifer DOT and are really making sure they do their part to help, because they have a lot of city streets too, and sometimes you just have to ask. But just like clearing off Ash Street last week from the tree limbs, blocking all the signals. That was a combination of a private contractor hired by DOT, a DOT providing traffic control, us hauling away the debris, and in 2 days we did that whole project. So it's really, they're willing to learn and try new things, so it's just fun to be around.
Thank you, Jamie. I get some pictures.
I can't remember my better side.
It was my hat.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all. Well, those that choose to are exiting, just take a moment just to remind everybody that we do not exist as a city but for the people that actually go out and hit the shovel and hit the streets and put the boots on the dirt. I mean, we're incredibly grateful for what these teams do, the collaboration, the work together. We really do mean it, because no work gets done purely by policy. You got to have someone to actually go and put their feet on the street and do the work. So thank you to every single one of the departments. We absolutely do see you, and don't forget to, don't take it out on your family. We can all go home frustrated sometimes, but do an extra lap around the city or something like that. You got to do it. All right, we will move to the next thing. We will move to our public comment period. As Ms. Reese, if there's anyone that intended to speak in public comment period that is not signed up, please do so, and then we will proceed. All right, Ms. Reese, if you would, please.
Yes, sir. Our first speaker is Miss Natalia Newkirk.
Everyone, Mayor Gaylor, fellow councilmen and women. Of course, I'm Natalia Newkirk. Everyone should know that by now. Been coming here almost 3 years now, and I guess I'm the spokesperson for Goldsboro Housing Authority, being that I keep getting these complaints to my phone in my inbox when they see me in person. Well, I'm here tonight because January of 2023, Ebony Hightower, Khadijah Jones, Katrina Chambers, along with myself, all spoke with Mr. Philip Sablack concerning black mold in our houses, bed bugs, spiders, and other conditions. Ms. Hightower had a kidney transplant years ago, and now she has to have kidney surgery again because of the mold that was found in her apartment on Carver Drive recently. It's negligence homicide, and you appoint the board members, Mayor Gaylor. What happened to me and my children shouldn't have never happened after coming before Ham, telling these conditions, and Councilman Taj Polak, we're former Councilman Taj Polak, who told me about the body of Tamika Pridgen being behind the Big Apple, and we need to go back there and find her. But yes, Miss Deborah Streeter, she lost her life living on Henson Street. Miss Matthews' family buried this lady. This is the last funeral I was able to go to, and to see the pain inflicted on her daughter was very devastating after she lost her daughter a year to a drug overdose, which my father was killed by 2 Goldsboro Housing Authority employees, Jedediah Hayes and Joseph Hayes. It's negligent homicide. It's homicide. I
We need to
want
be very
some
careful
justice.
about lobbying
I
unsubstantiated
want
claims
I
about
have
things.
plenty of evidence, and it makes no sense that I have to reach out to Councilwoman Taylor to borrow money to pay my phone bill when I'm owed 80 acres and a few mules because of what happened to me and my children. You seen my son have an asthma attack in here. Don't try to shut me up. And you seen my son have an asthma attack in here. I want some
Do you
justice.
have other matters
I
that
want
you'd
some
like to bring
justice.
to the city?
I want some justice.
Understood.
I shouldn't still be living in the 4-day movement. I shouldn't be able to go with Cry Freedom to a safe house. Y'all told me to get counseling and all of that. DSS have took my kids. I got severe PTSD, and the therapist slept with me. How about that, Gaylor?
Ma'am.
How about that,
Ma'am,
Gaylor?
I don't have
How
anything
about
to-
that, Gaylor?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Do something.
Next speaker.
Maybe should've won.
Ma'am, that's your final warning. Ma'am, that was your final warning. Have a good night. Wish you safe travels home. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Our next speaker is Mr. Todd Walker.
Hey, sir. Hey, City Council. Certainly great to see you. Todd Walker, the new Chamber of Commerce president, but also former MSG commander on the base. And I am here to talk about my enthusiastic support for the Downtown Goldsboro Development Center and its essential mission to revitalize our downtown core. Now more than ever, downtown Goldsboro is experiencing measurable economic resurgence and community vibrancy. And much of this is due to the center's leadership and strategic vision. Over the past decade, downtown Goldsboro has attracted nearly $80 million in combined public and private investment, resulting in 187 rehabilitated buildings, 78 new net businesses, and the creation of 430 new jobs. One standout example is the transformation of 6 underutilized buildings in the View at Wayne National project. This project, completed in May of 2022, is the initiative representing a nearly $14 million investment yielding 63 residential units, office space for nonprofits in the Arts Council, retail shops, extended stay units serving both the city and members of Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. That redevelopment now generates roughly $88,000 in monthly income and is projected to yield $1.1 million in annual income. Those numbers may be a little bit off, but you can see the benefits. But equally important to downtown Goldsboro is the ongoing support with Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, which remains a cornerstone of Goldsboro's economic landscape. The base employs approximately 7,000 personnel, including active duty, reserves, civilians, and contractors. And in 2024, the economic impact was an astounding $1.3 billion. I can personally tell you the Air Force family absolutely loves downtown Goldsboro. And this is where I'll kind of stick. We know the numbers about downtown Goldsboro, but I can tell you from getting here, me and my wife both, and then also working with the DGDC as an ex officio voter on the board, I have not seen a better ran organization, and I've ran a few of them. When it comes to their transparency, when it comes to the ability to connect the base to the community downtown, Aaron Fonseca and the entire team are probably the best that I have seen. I've had an opportunity to command numerous times in numerous locations. I've been in communities quite a bit, and I can tell you utterly that downtown Goldsboro is a place that we on the base, that they on the base, I'm retired now, but we look forward to coming. We look forward to in the weekends for the families coming down, whether it's walking down the streets, whether it's holding hands with a loved one, whether it's going to the Christmas parade, whether it's going into the different locations to eat some of the best cuisine that I've seen. And I do love my food. But I'll tell you what, there is nothing better than that relationship that they've established also with the base. And I certainly appreciate that very much. So supporting the Downtown Goldsboro Development Center is not only investment in historic preservation and economic infrastructure, and it's investment in inclusive growth, cultural vitality, and long-term community resilience. I encourage the chamber, our chamber, the base, and our broader civic partners to continue amplifying the center's efforts and championing their effort or their work at every opportunity. Thank you for your time. Have a good one. God bless you.
Our next speaker is Deronda. There was no last name provided.
Good afternoon, everyone. It was about a change, but it's
Here, come forward. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, if you would please, just make sure they have your full name.
Deronda Sampson, S-A-M-P-S-O-N.
Perfect.
Yes, I was informed that there was a item on the new business. Councilman Boyette, Taylor, Ms. Jones, Mr. Gaylor, Ms. Matthews, Weeks, Mr. White, and Mr. Livingston, and Mr. Lawrence. And the item number is new business, and it's talking about the counseling of a resource for the community in streaming the meetings. And I was like, wait a minute, we're not doing what the White House is doing. We're trying to limit access to public information. We're not doing that, are we? No. So my thing is, in my community, is that we need more information going forward. I see that we have one for YouTube that we can access the committee, and it's meetings, and also receive it in the mail. But to cancel one of the most used streams of information would be a downfall for Wayne County. I know for myself, I'm just retired May 1st, and I'm not being actively involved in the city and in the, I've always elected, I've always voted, but to me, when something comes to me, because I believe the information is vital for the city. Whether you live on Walnut Creek or Goose Creek or wherever you live, we all need that information. We need it so that we can govern ourselves accordingly. I know that in the past I did come when there was a change in increase in our water, and I was trying to still figure out what's going to happen because it was a proposal that was going out, but yet we are paying the increase. And what's going to happen when other items are brought before the board and we know nothing about it? As a citizen, I want to know. As a citizen, my plan is to be more involved in the city because I reside here. I'm from Goldsboro, went to the military, did some other things, but I'm back. And I want to make sure that those that you guys serve are getting the information that you sit amongst yourself and discuss to delete or to cancel. I think that information should be given to the public because a lot of people don't have YouTube, and a lot of adults, and I say myself, I'm older and slower, so there's a lot of things that I can't access as a 63-year-old, and I'm thinking about those other constituents that you have out there that are over and 70 and 80 and that want to get involved, but are shied away because it seems like there's too much red tape and we're limiting information.
Thank you.
Ms. Sampson was our last speaker.
Okay. All right. So then, with that, good comments. Let's move to the consent agenda. Mr. Livingston, if you would please hear any remaining questions on items 6.1 through 6.8.
Thank you, Mayor. The consent agenda is presented for the City Council. It's generally presented as a non-controversial type of items, routine in nature. So we have 6.1 through 6.8. I'd be happy to go over any of those with the City Council or you at this time.
All right. Each of these, like the ones, for example, the authorization of the execution of opioid settlements, the Crossroads Strategies Agreement, Friends of Seymour Agreement, those are the same as last year. Again, it's just this year's version of it. The opioid settlements, we discussed that. Mr. Livingston, correct me on this. That one, was that discussed last week or last meeting?
I don't recall, Mayor.
I know it came before council. I'm just trying to remember which meeting it was.
I don't think we discussed it in detail.
Okay. All right, council, are there any questions? Obviously, everyone has had opportunities to call the manager and get questions answered, but I just want to make sure that we have everything heard. Yes, sir.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, I have a problem with the Crossroads Strategy Agreement. Not that I don't think they're doing a great job with lobbying for our F-15 Echoes and EXs, but I also think that we haven't touched any of the base commanders' priorities, which are dorms, CDC, you know what I'm saying, and legislation for legislation for spousal licensures. So I think that we're just lobbying. I don't know what they're speaking of because I'm not there with them when they go up there to talk in DC, but I do think that we're not touching any of the issues on that base except for the F-15. And I think that we owe it to the base commander to expand our aperture to actually get in front of some legislators to talk about the dorms, because we're getting ready to kick another 50 junior airmen on the economy, right? Because we're getting ready to take another dorm down when we need a dorm. So I'm not satisfied with them lobbying for the whole entire Seymour Johnson. They do a great job with the F-15s, but I don't think they're hitting the mark when it comes to those priorities for that commander.
Understood. Roger that. Is we moved forward with the agenda, with the consent agenda intact. Are your comments to be interpreted as a motion to remove that from the consent agenda, or just simply stating for the record that next time they are here, which will be the next meeting for what it's worth to, that we'd like to have a conversation with Friends of Seymour about targeting priorities on a state legislative level as well?
Well, it's not just a state, but I think it should be federal as well, because it's going to take federal dollars to get that dorm out there on Seymour Johnson. And we're paying Crossroads, which is our federal agency, up at the federal level. So I'll say that we might need to remove Crossroads. That's my personal opinion. Remove them and have a conversation first before we vote on it, because I think we're missing the mark if the commander's coming back year after year talking about the same. Each briefing, he's talking about the same identical issues. And we haven't moved the ball any when it comes to that. And I do know in the NDAA, they proposed $54 million for a new child development center, but I don't think it made the cut.
Right.
So therefore, we still don't have child care. We did get a win with House Bill 412 with in-home child care, but we do need to really begin to think about at the federal and the state level at how we're going to support the men and women out there at Seymour Johnson. It's more than just the airplanes.
Right. Understood.
So I really think that we should have a we talked about this last year, and my sticking point last year was the same thing that we're talking about this year. And then I read from Sam Adcock, his review, and there was nothing in there about dorms, housing, spousager, child care, none of that. It was all 15s. So I think that we should move these from the agenda, have a conversation, and then see where we can work this out. That they're lobbying for everything that Seymour needs, not just the jets.
That will require additional investment, but I'm with you. If you're interested in removing item 6.5 and 6.6, which I presume that would be a couple. I'm assuming they would get together. If that is in the form of a motion, I'll entertain a motion to. I'll accept that as a motion to step back, amend the consent agenda to remove 6.5 and 6.6 to be discussed at. Honestly, it would be the next meeting because they've already requested to come at the beginning of next month.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Is it appropriate for comment now or when?
It is. There. Right now, it's just in the debate period. Unless you would like me to take that as a motion now, or are you okay with continued discussion?
We can continue the discussion.
All right. Yes, sir. Your reference.
I don't disagree with Councilman White's comments that we could put forth some more effort through whatever resources we have available to try to tackle some of these issues that are absolutely a concern. But just to make sure I'm on the right track, the existing agreement that we're about to vote on that's not within the scope of this agreement because it was only about the 15s, which is still a real and present urgent need. So would it be more appropriate to approve this contract and its subject matter as it stands now, and then come back and renegotiate moving forward to incorporate all that in? Because I agree with that particular organization that their work and what they do is important enough, and they carry enough weight with what they're able to accomplish with that firm, that if we wanted to ask them to do that, I'm sure we could negotiate that and get them to make it happen, and it may very well be able to move the needle. But I think that's a future conversation. Not that future doesn't mean ASAP, but I think that we should vote on the current contract under the current subject matter and handle that, and then make that our priority as soon as possible on the next one.
Well, I do agree with, I understand your point, don't agree with it, because we did go back last year and we added a line in the Seymour, the Friends of Seymour, that they would go and try to lobby for some of these quality of life stuff, and it's still not happening. So it was in the last agreement. So we gave them a chance, and they're still not producing any results. They're not moving the needle any. That was the hang up last year.
Okay.
And we went back and we added a line that said quality of life issues. So when I read the summary, that was all 15s. And 15s are great, but it does specify in the NDAA, and we all know that we're not getting any EXs right now. We're not slated to get any EXs. So what they're telling us now is stuff that we already know. Tell us something that's going to help those airmen now and their families.
Right now, just point of record, the agreement with Crossroads, what Crossroads has agreed to represent Friends of Seymour, County of Wayne, City of Goldsboro on, is narrowly tailored to the preservation of the number of F-15E tails or their one-to-one replacement at such time as that can be legislated. They have not been specifically tasked with those other things yet either, because we hadn't been interested in putting any more money on the table yet. And that being said, if that is something that we're interested in doing, I can tell you that Crossroads is very interested in representing the city across the board on other things, including those pieces as well. And Friends of Seymour in their visits have, not through Crossroads, but they themselves have said, here are other things that we want to move the needle on too. I think they've just kind of had to prioritize. But certainly hear both of y'all's points. If I had my druthers, I would like to approve what is there and then come back with an additional supplemental agreement for additional things, and then have it be between the city and Crossroads.
So with that being said, right? So why did we put it in the agreement last year if we knew that it was narrowly tailored and they wouldn't look at it anyway?
Well, the Friends of Seymour, the folks that are part of Friends of Seymour have brought up those points as far as what Crossroads was asked to do. But I think Friends of Seymour has brought up those points. I just don't think that it's been through the vehicle that is Crossroads.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. I don't think that they've ignored it. I think that it's been something.
I feel we well, with that being said, and me getting a better understanding, I'm still of the notion to take off Crossroads agreement, because I don't feel like we should agree upon it until it says exactly what we wanted to say. Because if not, we have to wait a whole nother year when it's time MOU season to do it. So I don't think that we should move forward until we have it say what we want it to say.
Question. All right. If you may let me recognize Councilwoman, and then we'll come back to you, Councilwoman.
So for clarity, just to make sure I'm hearing you correctly, the MOU that we read, the dollar amount that was proposed to us does not include those things. For us to include those things, we really need to renegotiate the MOU and maybe think about investing additional dollars to fund the things that we're all in agreement with him.
With Crossroads specifically, and there are a lot of different ways that you can tackle this. We can allow Crossroads through Friends of Seymour to continue being very narrowly tailored, and then we could hire someone else to be specific to us to attack some of these other issues. There's a bevy of ways that we could approach this. Either way, and I do feel this, if we overall do not, the consent agenda is intended to be things that are non-controversial. I want to be very clear on that. So at a bare minimum, just from this conversation, I believe that we need to have a motion to remove items 6.5 and 6.6 from the consent agenda to new business, and then allow us to either continue this conversation later in the meeting, or table it to the beginning of our next meeting when Friends of Seymour has already indicated that they would like to come and be on the agenda. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I would like to see us talk to the Friends of Seymour before we do anything. With that being said, listening, and I think I got an understanding of what Councilman White is saying. So could we not just wait, not try to vote on it later, just wait?
Table.
And yeah, I know the term table. And see what they have to say and what we can do, and go ahead on and put everything in that we need, so that we don't have to keep coming back and be done with it.
I think that can work. That can work. Yes, ma'am. And then Councilman.
I was just prepared to go ahead and make the motion so we can move forward.
All right. So motion is exactly what?
To remove 6.5 and 6.6 from the consent agenda, to move it to a date uncertain right now.
Okay. All right. A motion has been made. Is there a second?
We clear, attorney? Okay.
All right. Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Motion has been seconded. We'll continue the debate. Now the motion on the floor is to remove items 6.5 and 6.6 from the consent agenda. We'll put it on at a future date. We'll continue the debate. Councilman. Yes, sir.
Are we going to set a date that it's going to come back on the agenda, or is it just off until we put it back on? To clarify.
The motion that was made was to remove it from the consent agenda. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, they've already asked to come to deliver a briefing at the beginning of the September meeting. So
yes,
that's when it would be. Just to be honest.
What was it?
Yes, does that conclude your question?
Will that come up as a result of that conversation? My question was going to be, if we do this and then start that conversation to incorporate the things that I think we all agree we'd like to see chased after, how do we deal with that monetarily? Meaning, if we renegotiate, do we have a way to fund that without having to go into fund balance or this or that, since we're already in the middle of a budget cycle? Because I'm in agreement to, let's see what we can make happen. And I agree with everything Councilman White said, but how do we fund it and when? That was going to be my question. And my apologies, Madam Mayor Pro Tem. I was thinking out loud and I accidentally spoke out loud. So sometimes my wheels turn too fast.
No offense at all.
All right. Councilwoman?
I was just gonna say I would like to keep it open as far as the date, because right now I feel like we're kind of putting the cart before the horse. We're talking about money. We haven't even had the conversation. So let's just have the conversation, and then after that, I think we can come together as a board to see even if they're willing to make those type of provisions and additions that we are requesting. So I'm gonna keep the motion as it stands.
Understood. All right, motion's still on the table. Just restate it for the record, and then I believe did I see?
Yeah, I have
and then
one
I saw
more.
Councilman Weeks' hand up. So the motion on the table right now is just simply to remove items 6.5 and 6.6 from the consent agenda. The motion's been made and properly seconded. We're in the middle of the debate for it. Councilman Weeks, floor is yours.
So I was just going to make a recommendation, because I'm in agreement with all of you, is when they do come back, if we want to negotiate the things that we are saying that is a priority, to have them bring back also a MOU to offset the dollar amount that what we're asking for. So when they come back, they need to be prepared to tell us a difference. This is the MOU that they currently have offered us, and this is the dollar amount. Now this is what it would take to do the things that you guys as a council are asking to do, so that we can weigh which one we would like, which is the better option for us.
Sounds good. I think that all involved will actually be kind of excited to hear about this.
I agree.
All right, so motion's been made, properly seconded. Is there any further debate? Hearing none, we'll close the debate and call the vote. The motion is to remove items 6.5 and 6.6 from the consent agenda. Madam Deputy Clerk, would you like to do electronic or by hand?
Please.
All right. We'll call the vote electronically when it pops up.
We need the Jeopardy music.
Yep. All right. There it is. Love it. All right. All right. If I'm reading it correctly, motion is passed 7-0 to remove items 6.5 and 6.6 from the consent agenda. So with that, now we go back to the discussion of the remaining items on the consent agenda. Are there any remaining questions or concerns on items 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, and 8? Hearing none, we will call the vote. We will vote we're getting there. I was just letting you know. We'll vote electronically on this one. Is there a motion to approve consent agenda items 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, and 8?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
All right.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and properly seconded. If there's no debate on that one, we can vote electronically. That counts as a roll call vote. We had that discussion, got clarity there. So with that, of course, everyone can see exactly how everyone voted for the record. And that motion passes 7-0. So consent agenda items 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, and 8 are approved. 5 and 6. Good conversation, everybody. That will be on a future agenda, and I think some folks will be happy to see the opportunity for additional involvement and investment. All right, let's move to section 7, old business. Mr. Livingston, if you please get us going on item 7.1, the United Way NPO funding discussion.
Thank you, Mayor. We have Executive Director Sherry Archibald here to give us a presentation on United Way funding. We set aside $50K in this year's budget for various types of nonprofit assistance. She will also update us on a couple strategic priorities they have and some new programs that they have that she'd like to share with you, and some great ideas on how we can make our funding maybe stretch those dollars a little more.
Good evening. Good evening. It's a pleasure to see you tonight. As City Manager was sharing with you, I understand that at your recent council retreat, you voted to flow your $50,000 support for nonprofits through the United Way and through the community campaign. And admittedly, that was a suggestion for me last year because I felt like it was a great way to support our nonprofits. You did not have an administrative fee, and it would be able to go to those nonprofits that are already selected. However, after discussing that with your finance department, just recognizing that there is compliance that has to be done for every one of those, and that would be very challenging for me to do compliance for no administrative fee for all of those programs, 21 programs from 14 different agencies. And so that provoked a meeting for us to try to come together, and I was trying to look at ways that I could offer for you to consider how your $50,000 could best impact the community through through a couple of different efforts. And so I wanted to share those with you. There are two options that I'm bringing back to you. The first one is to stay in line with what we discussed, which would go to the community campaign. You would select a particular focus. There would be 4 focus areas for you to select from: health and wellness, financial stability, education, or basic needs. And from there, the board, our United Way of Wayne County Board, would select 1 or maybe 2 programs to support from that focus area. That way it really keeps the compliance at a minimum for me, but allows us to support 1 to 2 of those programs that had already been selected. The second option I had discussed because I was just in listening to the struggles of folks who are coming before you each and every week and recognizing a couple of things. This is what came to mind. I think I've already shared these with you, but I did bring extra, so I'm going to pass these around to share. But our You Can program is about 18 months old, and I'll pass these out or just pass them down. So this program is kind of a first stop for a lot of our folks to come to get resources and to get connected. And we do have some resources that are coming to us from several grants. It was actually originated from a grant from Duke Energy Foundation and one from Blue Cross Blue Shield. However, in addition to them continuing, you'll see on the back that we've had several sponsors who've wanted to support this program. And then just most recently, we were getting individuals who want to support this program. And so with the You Can program, it stands for United Community Assistance Network, and it allows us to get individuals in need and who are really experiencing a need and the gap of the community resources here to get them connected. And sometimes that means providing a resource, whether it's rent, utilities, water assistance, or transportation, whatever it is, we have the flexibility to be able to provide the support to keep them in a financially stable situation. And so with a community case care worker, we have been working through that for the last 18 months. So we've developed criteria for this. You'll see what the criteria is. It is individuals who are going through personal crisis. And with that, we provide that support or that connection. My thoughts for this is that this $50,000, of course, would support only Goldsboro City residents for the $50,000 that you are sending this way. And it would could allow the same criteria, but also I thought that recognizing that you all are doing some supportive work through HUD funding and recognizing that some of the residents are challenged with needing to get their home fixed but do not have the resources to be able to have temporary housing during that time. We would create a criteria and a maximum for each of those cases, but that would be one particular area that we could also add specifically for the $50,000. All of the other, I think, are areas that you probably would still be in line with. And so just wanted to offer those 2 options to you. And you can see specifically what they would look like or what the impact could be. I would encourage and like to put the City of Goldsboro's name on the back of the You Can program if that is what you are choosing, to recognize you along with the others as a sponsor. If it's the community campaign, that is great. It would also be part of all of our supporters through the community campaign. And so, just as always, accountability would still be provided for you. I could certainly provide that in 6 months. However, we're just getting started now, so we could do that in 6 months, do that in 9 months, or do that in a year, and show you the measurable outcomes of both. What kind of questions can I answer for you?
Council, as you're getting your questions together, I saw your hand go up, Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't have a question. I want to thank you for listening to the council. That means a lot. And the option 2 with the housing and making sure that those individuals in houses are being remodeled, that they have somewhere to go and that they have the money, because sometimes they don't. So I want to thank you for listening to us.
Absolutely.
And Ms. Archibald, if I may, while other council members are getting their questions prepared, if we wanted to split it, 30 in community, 20 in You Can, or whatever, do you have a preference? Would you prefer that we put it in one place, or if we wanted to split it? Is
I
that
think
an
it would be most impactful if you chose one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
I'm certainly happy to do either way.
Sure.
It would obviously be a little bit more work if we do both of them, but it's not a lot more because we've had to look at keeping it at a minimum, or it's so much administratively that it just isn't something that we could do.
Well, Council, this is something that at the retreat was discussed, at least conceptually. Is there a specific direction the council would like to go at this time? Yes, ma'am.
Me personally, I think the money will be best used through the UCAN. I think it will be able to touch and reach more people, considering the needs that we have. So that would be my recommendation, to funnel that money through that program that already exists.
Would you like to make that in the form of a motion?
I mean, I can.
All right. Motion's been made to funnel the.
I was just trying to hear.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I didn't mean to hop for it. Sometimes I move things along too much.
I'm with a motion now.
Well,
Okay,
that's up to you.
I would like to make a motion that the council makes the decision to use our nonprofit funding through the UCAN program with United Way.
Second.
All right. Motion been made and properly seconded to allocate the whole amount to UCAN program, right?
Yes.
All right. Is there any further debate on council? Hearing none, we'll call the vote. Madam Deputy Clerk, would you like us to do electronically?
Yes, sir.
All right. At your leisure, pop one up. All right, all votes being tallied, the motion passes unanimously, 7-0. Ms. Archibald, thank you as always.
Thank you. I will just, on behalf of the Board of Directors, I'll just say thank you for entrusting us to be accountable to those funds and doing the best we can to impact them in the best way. We'll certainly bring back data for you to be able to see how it's impacting the community. And also, I know you've heard me sharing, this is our 100th anniversary in Wayne County, and so on September the 9th, I think I've probably shared with you in multiple different ways, but on September the 9th from 11:30 to 1 at our location on William Street, I want to invite anyone listening as well. This is open to the whole community. We're going to celebrate 100 as we kick off our campaign, and also our board will share a bold goal as we're moving toward this issue focus over the next 3 years too. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for the work you do. All right, Mr. Livingston, if you get us going on item 7.2.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Item 7.2 is Cycle NC 2025. City Council is aware that they are coming down to the cyclists from North Carolina are coming through our city in early October. I don't know the exact date. It's in October, and we have Miss Amanda Justice here to kind of give us an overview of that event, and you asked her to come back and give you some more details, so she's been busy planning and preparing for this event. Amanda?
Good evening. As City Manager Livingston said, I came before you guys back in November to talk about this wonderful opportunity that the City of Goldsboro and downtown was given. The date is Thursday, October 9th, and it will be part of Cycle and Sea, which is Mountains to the Sea. So they will be leaving, I believe it's Silva, they'll be leaving, and they're going to head to Fort Fisher. So they'll be pedaling in to our beautiful city, starting about 2 p.m. on Thursday, October the 9th. So when I came before you, the idea with this is they pedal into downtown. We throw a welcome party, we being sponsored by the tourism office. And then there's anywhere from 800 to 900 cyclists that will be doing this ride. 200 of the cyclists will stay in hotels. The other 600 to 700 will camp downtown at Freedom Field. And so when I brought this before you guys before, you had asked for me to come back with a safety plan, which should have been in the packet that you had. So again, I just was here tonight to see if you had any additional questions about the event that I could answer.
Council, do we have any questions about the plan or about the event for Ms. Justice? I'll just have one for you. Do you still need volunteers for that
Yes,
evening?
and I was going to invite any of the council that would like to come out that day. Even if you don't want to volunteer, if you could just be there to cheer the cyclists on when they come in. They're going to have an archway that the cyclist will ride through, so it'd be great to have a little cheering committee. We're going to have a band down at the hub from 3 to 5. So there's going to be a lot of hubbub down there. We're hoping that the cyclists will then go out into downtown and spend some of their dollars.
Perfect.
I do
Yes,
have
sir,
a question. Did she have to pay for the application fee?
Cycle and C would have handled, or how is that handled?
My understanding is because I'm a city department, it fell under the city department umbrella.
Okay.
But if there is a fee,
No, I just wanted to make sure you didn't pay for it.
Right.
It was marked on here that you did. That's why we were asking.
That's why I was asking. That's it. I just wanted to make sure you didn't pay.
Yeah.
So the Travel and Tourism Board is the sponsor of record. I got you.
Correct, yeah.
Perfect. This can be a big event. And organizations that might be interested in collectively coming out and being volunteer groups, how late at night are you going to need volunteers?
So actually until maybe about 6 or 7, and until they kind of go out and kind of grab dinner or do whatever. We do have, I've worked with the police department, so we do have 2 officers that are going to be down there from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. So that part will be covered. And as far as the volunteers will just kind of be the bulk of when they ride in. But anybody that wants to be down there to welcome them, to hang out with them, to talk to them, they're very, the next ride or the next day is what they call a centennial ride, so it's 100 miles. So they're pretty strict about being in their tent, in bed by 10 p.m., lights out, quiet time, so.
It's been kind of amazing to me, folks that I work with from around the state that have said, hey, you're in Goldsboro, right? Yeah. I'm riding through your city in a couple months. It's like, I did not know you could ride a bike. So,
I would also like to say a huge thank you to all of the city departments that have helped me with this. This has reached almost every single department within the city, especially downtown, Parks and Rec, Public Works, police, fire. I mean, they've all been super helpful with this. So I also want to
say thank you.
What they do.
So with that, Mr. Livingston, do we need a vote on the special event application, I presume?
This
Or is
didn't
this purely for
require, no,
information?
sir, it's not anything like that. It was administratively handled.
Okay.
Because there's no street
Just a
closures.
street closure.
As I recall, I can't.
We did not do a street
yeah,
closure.
that's- Yeah. So we should be fine. Is this more just an update because you guys requested it? So, and it's a timely update because it's right around the corner now.
Yep. Perfect. So this is both an update as well as a call for volunteers. So if there's any organizations or council members that want to be out there. But since there's no action item, council, last call for comments, questions.
Hey, I do just got one more.
Yes, sir.
Just thinking outside the box. This old crusty song major in me, right? But the inclement weather plan, right? I understand it's going to be a plethora of people out there and it's going to be a lot. But have we got with the National Guard to see if they can put up like just overhead cover if there was some kind of inclement weather, like
we
thunderstorms
we
or
will
something?
have a 40 by 40 tent set up out there because part of the 600 to 700 that'll still be down there, 200 of them have bought what they call a meal pass, and so there'll be a catered dinner down there. In addition, we're also working with some of the other entities around there to see if we can have some additional coverage for that as well.
And, and I'll also call that you do have designated shelter points in the event of lightning or tornado warnings, things like that.
Right.
That is included in this plan as well. To the councilman's point, we absolutely want to make sure these folks get here, enjoy it, spend some money, and get out safely. So
Right, and they'll be here less than 24 hours.
All right. So, council, any additional comments, questions? Hearing none, Mr. Livingston, anything further from you on this one?
No,
All
sir.
right. Ms.
I'm
Justice?
looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, this is going to be a big travel and tourism event. They're also going down to Mount Olive as well. For those of you that track those things, this is because they're pulling them in here. Other communities in Wayne County are also financially benefiting, which is a good thing, very good thing. All right, Mr. Livingston, if you would please start us on item 7.3.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. 7.3 is a memorandum of understanding with DGDC. As you recall, the last meeting we were instructed to, or staff was asked to look at the agreement and work with the DDD in incorporating the recommended changes as set out by the City Council. We have worked on that and incorporated those. And it's basically up to us to further discuss those and see if there's any other issues with that and go forward. So we have Erin here again. She's going to get tired of coming before and talking about this, but she's here to present again.
And council, the version in the agenda packet updated 8/18/25 is of course the most recent version. If there's any questions as you're pulling it up, just make sure that you grab the most recent PDF off of the board portal. How are you?
Thank you. I'm well. How are you?
Good to see you.
I would never get tired of coming up here. Just make that known. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for having me up here again this evening. In preparing for tonight and then listening to Amanda's comments and Sherry's comments about, is it You Can initiative? I'm reminded of something that a former city manager used to say often, which is that the city cannot be everything to everyone, right? It's imperative that we rely on partnerships to increase our impact and make sure that we are extending our resources well beyond the departments here, because there's only so much that we can do with 400 plus city employees. We have to rely on partnerships. And the partnership that we have between the DGDC and the Downtown Development Department is one that is successful, and it has a proven track record of impact, not just downtown, but well beyond the borders of downtown. So I will never get tired of sharing that story, and I'm going to share it with you one more time tonight. So since we've been talking about this MOU for a while, I will be brief in my comments about the background, but it is important that I share some of this information with you as we prepare to discuss the MOU once again. So again, the Downtown Development Department is a department of the city and has been since 1993, when it was created by the city of Goldsboro to form a public-private partnership with the existing Downtown Goldsboro Development Corporation. The two entities have worked successfully together for more than 30 years, carrying out our downtown development efforts as a state and a nationally accredited Main Street community. The Downtown Development Department is the city's only dedicated economic development department with a focus on the downtown area, simply due to its community-wide impact. Also because that is what we are called to do, is carry forward the Main Street program. Using the Main Street approach, the Downtown Development Department, along with its dedicated nonprofit arm, the DGDC, have spurred a significant amount of economic development, resulting in more than $89 million in both public and private investment, 213 building renovations, 603 net new jobs, 97 net new businesses, all just since 2013. That has resulted in a growth of 120% to the property value in downtown in the same period. Again, that is a 120% increase to the property value that benefits all of the city. So growth and impact does not just stay downtown, but tax revenues benefit all of the city. When we look at things like investing in street paving and filling potholes and buying fire trucks and all the things that we're called to do across the city, the only way outside of borrowing money to make those things happen is to increase our revenue. Downtown, you are seeing a return on your investment of 5.5 to 1. So I would encourage you to think about how we can increase our impact in downtown rather than to decrease our impact in downtown, because in downtown, you are seeing a 5.5 to 1 return on your investment. Okay, so speaking of return on investment, we have 3 city employees in the Downtown Development Department, and you have a return of that investment of 24 dedicated board members that make up the DGDC. Now, the DGDC exists solely to support the city's downtown development initiatives. They don't have a mission outside of supporting downtown Goldsboro.
100% of the volunteer-led work focuses on the priorities that we set forward and establish as the City of Goldsboro Department and that you all put forward to us as city employees. 100% of the DGDC's privately raised funds support initiatives to continuously improve downtown Goldsboro. That is the primary function of my department, the Downtown Development Department. As a dedicated and committed partner, the DGDC consistently provides an average of 6,000 volunteer hours at a value of roughly $190,000 in savings to the city, and also leases our 1,800 square foot office space to the Downtown Development Department and in turn the city at $0 lease. That's a savings of at least $21,600 annually. That is savings to the city. The proven success of Goldsboro's Main Street program has been well documented, as I've shared, and reported on a monthly basis through the DGDC board and departmental reports, and biannually through the North Carolina Main Street statistics and the North Carolina Main Street and Main Street America annual assessments. The program is consistently recognized as one of the best in the state, with more than 40 statewide awards and one national award. The Downtown Development Department, with the DGDC support, has secured more than $23 million in grant funding in the past 15 years alone. That includes over $2 million of funding that is currently at work in projects that I am actively directing. $912,500 has been delivered through the DGDC to support the city and the nonprofit. That is going towards city initiatives like Goldsboro Union Station, like downtown landscape maintenance, things that we care about because these are city assets, but the nonprofit is standing up and saying, we support you. We are going to help identify grant funding to carry these things forward. Additionally, the nonprofit has dedicated over $30,000 as a match to the $612,500 grant for Union Station. That is coming directly from the nonprofit to support this initiative in a city-owned property, Goldsboro Union Station. So now going into the discussion, the city you all requested that an MOU between the City of Goldsboro's Downtown Development Department and the DGDC be drafted to delineate and further define each other's roles, expectations, and requirements when working with and for the city through various events, activities, and day-to-day operations while fulfilling the city's obligation as a Main Street community. A draft of this document has been brought before council as was discussed in detail at the August 4th meeting. At that time, City Council requested modifications to the proposed MOU and recommended said amendments be brought before council today, August 18th. It is believed that the new draft does address matters that were discussed and requested in the MOU. To further clarify modifications and intentions, a position statement was also drafted by the executive committee of the DGDC. So I've asked Doug McGrath, our past president, to join us tonight to speak to some of those edits and amendments and share some of the direction that led to those changes. Doug?
Thank you. Good evening. So it's been several months now that the process has unfolded to work on the development of the MOU. I think maybe as a starting point, it makes good sense. It's a best practice to have the MOU. So really what we're trying to do is just talk through the mechanics of what that agreement does. In our view, what the MOU does is not change the relationship, it simply documents the relationship. So a couple of the things that I want to talk about is how we're graded, right? So the MOU can guide part of that discussion, but you also have the annual review that is done through the Main Street program, which is a fairly high standard and involves city staff and city leadership. So there were a couple of points that were kind of key points as the discussion has unfolded. One of those is transparency. And I want to at least explain that from our view, from the nonprofit's view, there's a great deal of engagement and oversight that already exists. So that exists on a daily, weekly, monthly, and annual basis through the reporting structure that exists. So Aaron, as the director of the Downtown Development Department, guides the process in terms of what the initiatives are that are being worked on by DDD with DGDC support.
and I know that gets a little complicated. So we also have board representation from the council and the city manager's office, which gives you access to exactly what the initiatives are that DGDC is working on. Those positions were added, and this is maybe noteworthy, those were added voluntarily by the DGDC to encourage more consistent communication. So to further state the DGDC's commitment to transparency, they agree to make year-end financial statements and tax returns available upon request by the council. So they're already out there in terms of a 990 being published, but certainly we can make available to the council on an annual basis the financial statements. Also may be important to underscore that all work that's done by the city staff is done so in the name of, in accordance with the stated objectives of the city of Goldsboro. So it's not DGDC bringing an agenda to the city and saying, help us with this agenda. It's the city kind of outlining what the agenda is, and then our charge through the nonprofit to align the resources to help produce those objectives. The work will be conducted for the city of Goldsboro for the dual purpose of increasing the quality of life for all residents and growing the economy of the city of Goldsboro. And I don't think that really, I hope that you're not hearing there that is simply defined in a small footprint, so we can talk more about that maybe in a couple of minutes. So in addition to the statement above, DGDC has always voluntarily paid property taxes on the property that we have rehabilitated and put back into use. Two things happen there. One, we take blighted property that maybe is on the verge of being knocked down, and we put life back into it and put it on the tax rolls. And then other people see that and make investments to follow suit with what DGDC has done. So we successfully did that on John Street. We moved from John Street to a property that had been vacant for 14 years, I believe, on Center Street. And we breathed life back into that property and put it back on the tax rolls, which not only has a direct economic impact to the city of Goldsboro, but it inspires other people to follow that business model. The DGDC over the years has acquired property as a committed partner in addressing the persistent challenge of blight. Historically, the comprehensive Historic Neighborhood Plan Partnership Agreement outlined how the DGDC, Preservation NC, and the city of Goldsboro would work together to acquire and encourage investment in historic properties surrounding downtown. The ratified agreement stated that the city would provide lawn maintenance of these properties. This understanding has carried forward in the ongoing maintenance of property through a shared vision of future redevelopment. However, in an effort to remind the public of the DGDC's continued support of neighborhood improvement, the nonprofit will maintain the current list of 7 vacant properties. The last point really deals with the term of the MOU, and this is maybe one that probably has had the most discussion from the nonprofit board. The average for similar programs in terms of the length of an MOU is between 3 and 5 years. We have suggested that it really needs to be a 48-month term, which provides a long enough period of time that people can feel comfortable making significant investments. So think about, if you can back up, think about the move DGDC made to take blighted property on John Street, make a major investment in that property, and restore that block. If they were operating under a mindset that an MOU could change literally, every year or on a shorter period of time, it would be harder to get the sponsors or investors to feel comfortable making the investment. Think about the project that Aaron talked about, Goldsboro Union Station. Rallying the support in terms of resources, financial and volunteer, would be much more difficult if the term of the MOU was less than 48 months. Keeping in mind that you already have in place an annual review through the North Carolina Main Street program. It takes a substantial effort to have a balanced approach to economic development, and one that has proven to work in revitalizing our downtown. The balance is necessary to not only get new priorities accomplished, but to maintain the status quo that everyone has come to expect in the heart of our city. We trust that the Goldsboro City Council sees the value in the contributions of this dedicated group of volunteers that make up the DGDC, in partnership with the Downtown Development Department. The effort never ends, and furthermore can be expanded and replicated to enrich other areas of the city, following the NC Main Street approach to economic development. This model we have a model that maybe is not perfect, but it works very, very well, has a proven track record. We can take that same model in our community and put it to work in other areas of the city of Goldsboro. So I think there's an opportunity for us here to get past the discussion period for the MOU with all due respect, so that we can get about the hard work of continuing to improve our community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right. Just 1 second before I take over. Anything else? Mr. Livingston, anything to add before I open up for questions from council?
And not at this time, sir.
All right. So, council, we have the latest revision of the MOU in front of us. We've heard words from their past president of the nonprofit board. We've heard from city staff. What questions do we have at this time? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the MOU as presented.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
All right, a motion has been made by Pro Tem and seconded by Councilman Boyette. Is that all right? Motion's been made and properly seconded to approve the MOU as presented. We'll vote electronically. I see that that Ms. Reese has already put this up here. So, yes, I need to call for debate. I apologize.
Just a question though. I think y'all are doing an outstanding job. You're world renowned up in Raleigh. I think you're doing a great job. I do have just a few questions. One is, and it's just for the city. It's not for you. It's on us as a city. So as a city, I don't think it's your responsibility to track in-kind hours. I think it's the department whoever is given the actual manpower to track the in-kind hours. So I called around a little bit just to make sure I'll check my admin. And the best practice is to track in-kind hours just so that we know how much we got invested into the nonprofit. Not to keep tabs or whatever, but to know that what we got invested. So I will ask that if we could, have that where the city owns that piece of it, where we track in-kind hours as far as, when we do something for, and that's for any nonprofit, because this is going to be the standard for any nonprofit going forward, because we can't do for one and not do for the other. Right, so if that being said, I just think that we should begin to track in-kind hours.
And the assistant city manager and I have talked about that, and we agree that that is something we need to be doing. So, and we're looking into ways of how we can better do that. It's about accountability of taxpayer dollars. So, that we agree with that, and it's not one nonprofit. It's any event that we support. Just so we know, it's not about trying to look at a return on investment as much as just knowing, I think, about what our investment is.
Right. And there's also something to be said. Again, right now we're in the debate stage. The motion is still on the table. It's been made and seconded to approve. But continuing our debate stage, I think this does a nice job of saying what is being done because the city is insisting that it's being done, and what is being done to support an outside organization's desire to host an event. If we have a large concert in downtown, we're beefing up the police presence around that because that is what you do in public safety. And so there's definitely a layer to this. I think that this is one of the first really good attempts at trying to clearly lay out these support services are done by the city. The insurance requirements are being done by that person or done by a different organization. And to the councilman's point, we need to be accountable. We need to be able to show exactly what is going where. And if we were to have someone else that is having a large concert, is it that our sponsorship is in the form of in-kind, and how are we tracking that? I don't mean to ramble, but it is something where that I think our doing more work than I have seen in the past of trying to clearly define the relationships between us and all of our different partnering agencies. And Councilman White, I certainly did not mean to cut you off. I hope I didn't.
No, I said I got mine in the atmosphere.
Yes, sir. All right. Yes, ma'am.
So, I don't think that the issue has ever been if you guys are doing the work. You're doing amazing work. That is not the issue. The issue has always been the transparency piece, and we see that we right now have a surrounding city that is in trouble because there was no transparency. And so in looking at best practices and speaking with other cities, I'm going to have to agree with you in speaking with them, how they're doing their MOUs with their development departments, and then looking at conflict of interest with governance. If an employee serves in both capacities, they're working for the city and they work for a nonprofit, there should be clear documentation of when they are acting as a city representative versus when they are acting on behalf of the nonprofit. This is nothing that we are asking the DGDC or the DGDC to do, but this is something that should be written into the MOU as what the city is going to do on their part. So I agree. I have absolutely no issues with approving the MOU, but I do think that we should make that amendment, that actual writing is in the MOU, that we will have a stipulation in place where we will document any in-kind gifts that are going to the DGDC, and then we will also document any how much hours are actually spent for the DGDC staff working for the nonprofit. I spoke with an employee recently in one of our meetings, and they told me that their employee time, that they spent between 80 and 90% of their city-paid employee time actually working for the nonprofit. So if we're looking at best practice financially, it should be written into that MOU to stipulate that the city will actually track that investment and track that time, so that if a state audit ever takes place, we have the proper documentation in place.
Any other comments from council?
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
So in light of that, instead of us adding it into the MOU, because the initial comment was this is a city issue from this side of the table, can we just make an agreement that information is provided? It doesn't have to be included in the MOU, but it is a standard and an expectation of our city staff without having to include it here and hold this up any longer.
Or put it in one of our policies, right?
Yeah, it would be in a policy that we bring back and say, here's how we're going to track. We're working on that right now. As I said, we've got some ideas. We've done a little bit of research, so we can bring that back.
Tim?
And the motion on the floor that I made was that we approve the MOU as written. Right. So that's what we're voting on.
So is there any further debate about the motion that's on the floor? All good comments. Is there any further debate about the motion on the floor, which is to approve as presented? Hearing none, we'll call the vote. Ms. Reese, if you would, please. All right. Waiting for one more. Oh, good. Understood.
Somebody voted me yes. But
there you go. I think when you raised your hand, I think she may have tallied you. All right. Record will state motion passes 7-0 unanimously. So we'll move forward with this one. Thank you.
Thank you.
And to the DGDC board, I see a lot of you folks out there. Thank you. Thank you for sticking through this and working through this with us. I think that we're defining a stronger relationship than has ever been. I think we're only going to move forward in good ways. So thank you guys for everything that you're doing, the volunteerism, the sponsorships, the being hot and sweaty on Thursday nights to make sure that there's fun things to do out in the community. Thank y'all for doing it.
Can I toss in a thank you as well?
Yeah.
Is that inappropriate?
Yeah, go right ahead. And then Councilwoman Taylor, I see your hand up as well. If you got any closing comments on this item.
I had mentioned, I don't remember in what format or where it was, but I had mentioned that another organization I'm involved in, which also has a nonprofit attached to it, decided a little while back that we wanted to contract with a company to develop a strategic plan for us. And the day that the company was supposed to come to Goldsboro, come to town to meet with us, we all met up on the other side of town, and conversation gets started. All that's going fine, and something come up about downtown. I don't remember who said what, but the subject came up, and one of the 4 or 5 people that was with that group said, "Yeah, we know. We really were impressed with your downtown." And I said, well, this where we're at didn't come through downtown, and they said, well, we make it a priority when we're considering who we're going to do business with, that when we come to that town, before we meet up with them, we want to see 3 things. We want to see their downtown and what it looks like. We want to see where the courthouse is, and we want to see what the hospital looks like. I'm like, oh, well, okay, that sounds like a winner to me. But it just goes to show how important and how incredible this work is that this group does for us, because it's all about value got per dollar spent. And our downtown is looked upon by not only this whole county, but it's looked at by everybody that's paying Goldsboro any attention. And I go on to say, and I wrote this down in my notes from earlier, as we all know, there was 2 economic development announcements that were made recently that were very, very big deals. And I read last week that Business NC ranked those 2 economic developments as number 21 and number 25 projects in the whole state. And that ties back to downtown. Everything to do with Wayne County starts right here on this street that we're on. And I want to say that because there's plenty of you guys in the room to say thank you. And the incredible amount of work that you guys do. I've seen it. I've been a downtown property owner since day one. I was in the room when Streetscape was passed. I was in this room when the Paramount burned down, and the sadness and the sentiment that was in this very room the next meeting when we were all lost, like what are we going to do? And we see where we're at today, we see where it started from, and we also see the importance of community members stepping in to save us from ourselves sometimes, for lack of a better term, because Mr. David Will needs a cape with an S on the front of his shirt, because Mr. David Will is the reason that the Paramount stands today in the form it is. So thank you to each and every one of you for everything you've done. God bless all of you, because it's this whole county and this part of the state depends on what you're doing and your success. Thank you.
Thank you,
That's
sir.
all, Mr. Mayor.
Ms. Taylor? Councilwoman?
So I just have a closing comment. I just want to say that I think that Mr. McGrath made a really good comment, or a good point, when he said that we have that model that we can take and use to better different parts of our city. So I do appreciate everything that DGDC does for us. Downtown is beautiful, and everyone works really hard, so I appreciate that. But I just want to urge the city and us as a council to start making this a priority, to take the model, and even if we have to pick a part of the city at a time and work on that, because there are so many parts of our downtown communities that really need some help.
Council, if there's any other, Mayor Pro Tem, I saw your hand go up. If there are any other comments on closing 7.3, after that we'll take a quick recess as we've been going now for an hour and a half. So we'll hear any other closing comments for 7.3, and then we'll take a quick recess. Pro Tem?
Well, I don't want to echo what everybody else has said, because I do agree with that. But I do want to say that we have been talking about other areas that we're going to be looking at. The other part of Center Street, that's in the works as well. So I want everyone to know that it's not just going to be Center Street downtown. We are looking at other areas. And I just talked about that today, about looking at the different areas. So I did want everybody to know that.
That MSD structure is something that obviously the taxpayers have to levy on themselves, but that MSD structure can be replicated, and I think that would be something worth exploring. Any other comments from this side of the dais? All right, so with that, let's stand in recess. Let's just, we'll come back at 5 after. Let's grab a quick recess for nature breaks. This back to order. After 90 minutes, I think you need a second to stand up, and at least my lower back prefers. After 90 minutes, we stand up for a second. All right, we will move forward with a really solid piece of negotiating by our city manager. I'll go ahead and say that on record. Mr. Livingston, if you would please talk us through item 7.4.
Thank you, Mayor. We've talked about this a couple times, but we've been working with the city attorneys for Fremont, our city attorney, the mayor, former town administrator, and also the mayor, Billy Martin from Eureka, on a proposal which you have in your agenda packet tonight, which essentially sort of maps out the way ahead for what will eventually be two separate agreements with both Fremont and Eureka for sewer services. Essentially what's happened through the years is, the long story short here, is that as Eureka has encountered inflow and infiltration into its system, their costs have gone up. They've skyrocketed. So they've been fortunate enough to get a grant through the state to help them, because they're not a viable system, to lower their inflow and infiltration, essentially rebuild their entire system. They've got about $20 million to help do that, which will in the future lay the groundwork for a direct connection into Goldsboro, thereby bypassing Fremont. But right now we have to get an agreement, we need an agreement in place that will work with both entities by limiting Eureka's monthly bills and also allowing for Fremont to capture some of their cost of using their conveyance system. So, the cart charges that Fremont charges Eureka or historically have been 2.5 times what the city of Goldsboro charges for our entities outside the city limits, our municipalities. So under this agreement, we would charge Eureka the conveyance charge, and then we'd also credit $2 to Fremont for a total of $4 in conveyance charges to Fremont. But it would also reduce Eureka's cost quite a bit, because their cost would go down from over $20-some per 1,000 gallons to maybe roughly around 12 with the added $2 conveyance fee that they would absorb. So both Eureka and Fremont are tell me they're happy with this agreement. Like I said, Ron has worked with it diligently as well to make sure that we're speaking all the right legalese. I'd like a motion from this board after there are any questions, so that we can take this to them and say, here it is, and it's your turn next.
So with this, is this the appropriate venue to discuss potential other pipes that can go and serve different parts of the county, including Eureka?
Yeah, I think this is a good time, just a quick update on the, because I did also want to do that. We're back meeting again with the merger feasibility folks from the state and all the other entities. We will be including some other entities like Walnut Creek. For some reason they were left out, and I mentioned they need to be in this too. But some of the larger municipalities are trying to determine what their way ahead is, and this is a totally different kind of thing from what we're talking about, but it relates about how to handle their sewer, because they're under what's a special order of consent, which is basically a moratorium on being able to provide sewer services. And that's why we're engaged with a consultant to try to design a plant so that we can not have that happen to us. Anyway, so the segue forward on that is all this is sort of leaning us towards that, having agreements with multiple entities like we have now, but this would just be adding Eureka to that mix.
This is a fantastic framework that takes advantage of existing pipe in the line, gets it repaired, is able to leverage grant dollars coming in from the state to be able to keep Eureka on the map. Let's just be honest about that in a positive way. Be able to broker a deal between Fremont and Eureka and Goldsboro. And this thing could have gone a lot of different ways, but this is a reasonable outcome that, again, I give you all the credit in the world, because you took some very strong personalities, my own included, and found a balance that actually can mathematically work. And so, not to foreshadow, but yes, I'm in favor of the agreement as presented. But
the stakes weren't as high as Ukraine and Russia or anything like
no,
that.
not nearly as high as that. Fortunately, this was pipes in the ground as opposed to anything else. All right, council comments, questions on this one. Councilman Boyette, I see your hand up, and then I'll work my way down the dais. Yes, sir.
I just wanted to publicly pay our manager a compliment with all of his work that he's put into not only this agreement, but as he said, this very important merger conversations that's going on that is going to affect the next several generations of folks that call Goldsboro home, with the path forward with that. He and I both sit through 3-4 hours worth of meeting. Is it last week? I think might have been this week. It's a blur now. No, it's Monday. Last week. In those discussions, and I have said this since day one when it became apparent that we may be able to have Matt as our manager, that I can't think of anyone anywhere that's any better for us to be sitting at the wheel, because he literally is expert level at this stuff. And as he has told us and other folks before, in his career path along the way, he has been on both sides of these mergers. And I'm just incredibly happy that we have him to steer us, because like I said, this council is going to be and is doing and already has done some things that will shape the future of this community for generations to come. And there's not a whole lot of elected bodies that can say that they're the ones sitting in the seats when the transformational stuff happens. And that's us, and the time is now, and I believe in the guy we have at the wheel to guide us. And of course, I'm in favor of the agreement. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir. Council, any other comments or questions on the agreement as presented? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agreement as presented.
So moved.
Motion's been made and properly seconded by the Pro Tem to approve the interlocal agreement as presented. Final call for debate. Is there any additional debate? Hearing none, we'll call the vote. Thank you, Madam Deputy Clerk. The electronic prompt, I believe, is up for everybody. Not getting it?
I'm just going to raise my hand.
All right. And those who do not get it, if you would please, there you go. Track her. Ms. Reese. Councilwoman Weeks is voting in favor. There we go. Perfect. Look at us marrying technology and analog. All right, you're here in front of everybody. All right, let the record state the motion passes 7-0. The item 7.4 interlocal agreement is approved. Mr. Livingston, the next step for this would be to take it to each of the other municipalities, allow them to vote on it as well.
They're supposed to be doing that next week.
All right,
so
perfect. All right. Let's move into new business. Item 8.1. I believe Mr. Arnold will be leading us on this one. Not to cut you out, but did you have any?
No, I just wanted to say that this is something that the City Council had asked for as a retreat item, and we started out with working with the Department of Commerce, and I've let Kelly is leading the charge on this one. So.
Perfect. Mr. Arnold, good to see you.
Mayor and Council, so Matt just reminded you and reminded me that for the next two items you actually talked about during the retreat, and you talked about them and carried them forward through your budgeting process, and so they are both in your budget as initiatives and efforts that you want to accomplish this year, and have both of them completed in time for your February 2026 retreat. So this one is, I'm going to turn over to April Johnson Choice. She's going to be the lead staff person on bringing forward this culmination of effort that we've talked about in economic and business development for the last 2 to 3 years. You've had the Department of Commerce come into this town and do 2 looks at what we do and what we excel in, but they also identify some gaps that we had. And one of those gaps are how we are working within the business community for business development. Not necessarily economic development, but business development. And what are we doing to create and foster a culture of success from not only the policies and procedures we do, but also within the staffing. So one of those big steps we did was development services department, and we were fortunate to hire April. And April brings a new energy to the table, and interest of what she's accomplishing, and the timing is great now. And so we want to present to you an opportunity to go forward with Creative Economic Development Council Corporation on helping us build the culture that we hope are successful for business development. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to April on this one, and she's going to introduce the consultant who's going to assist us.
Ms. Johnson-Choice, welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Council. I'm just going to introduce the speaker, but I want to say I'm very excited about this particular project. Crystal Morphus, she is the founder and CEO of Creative Economic Development Consulting, and she will provide a presentation and overview of the project.
With you this evening. Enjoyed listening to some of your business related to the community and your interest in continuing for development. So I want to just share a little bit about our firm and then the scope of work. And I'll talk about how it's been a while, but we've done consulting work in Wayne County over a number of years. So just as, let's see, make sure that it's on.
Brad, we may need a...
That's okay.
Yes. Back and forth.
There we go. There we go. There. Great. Thank you. So just as a little bit of background, our firm is headquartered in the huge metropolis of Elkin, North Carolina. We are based in this state and do most of our business in the Carolinas and Virginia. Headquartered with me in the Elkin office is Billy Carter, who heads marketing and technology. Heather Beard is in Mount Olive. She has lived in this community for a long time. She heads our research and analysis. And then Penny Whiteheart is based in Greensboro, and she is a senior consultant. Three of us have been practicing economic developers in the past, so when we talk about business development strategies, we've actually had to put them in place. So the result of this project will be actionable because we've actually been on the ground doing this work. We're a small firm, a boutique firm. We like to keep our fish pond pretty small to pay attention to all the big fish that are in our small pond. We're quite entrepreneurial as well. We have proprietary programs that no other consulting firm has. One of them is in entrepreneurship. So when we talk about especially small business development, it is one of our areas of expertise. And we do have a unique approach to pay it forward. We give away one consulting project a year. We sponsor a leadership forum and do some other things that are a little bit unique compared to other firms like ours. So strategic planning is one of the core services that we provide, and when I think back to our work in Wayne County, again, it's been quite a while, but we facilitated a couple of economic development strategies and facilitated board retreats around strategy in the past, but that is really the largest part of our work. We also do get involved in product. This is the sites and buildings part of business development. And you may automatically think about industrial parks, but we also do quite a bit of work and feasibility studies for co-work space, incubation space, commercial shared use kitchen, and the other types of space that business would need to grow. We do economic impact analysis, so what do these projects mean to a community like the city of Goldsboro? And there are a few other things that we do related to economic and business development organizations. So related to some of our experience that you might be interested in, we've finished some planning work for Leland not too long ago. Leland is a very fast-growing community, in the Wilmington MSA. They're a real interesting community to study, but really fast-growing, got some unique opportunities. Our work in business development and entrepreneurship, if you want to put some of those two together, we've done work in Wilmington recently, but also in Moore County. And I bring up Moore and I put Fayetteville on the list as well because of their significant military presence, which of course you have in this community. It's a real interesting influencer in the economy. If you think about business development opportunities, there are a lot of contracting opportunities, but think of all of the exiting military that are involved in business development here, but also think about trailing spouses, dependents that also have businesses. So that's really an important piece of the economy. We've done a lot of work for communities that are working on revitalization. You were talking about your downtown earlier, and by the way, downtown does look great. I've worked here over a number of years, and it's transformed over the time that I've been coming here. Waynesboro, Virginia is a place where we looked at a redevelopment strategy of a corridor. They have a lot of interesting assets. We do have worked for Electricities for the entire history of our firm, which is 13 years, but previous to that, I was with another firm, also did work for Electricities. So a lot of city planning across, and you were talking about Fremont, which is a public power entity, and through Electricities, I've spent some time there as well, and many other cities in the eastern part of the state, some of your colleagues we've worked for, and the Southeast region, which is a 20-county economic development region across the Southeast. So very familiar with the regional economy, but also focusing a little bit more on the economy of Goldsboro and the surrounding communities. So thinking about this project, and Kelly did a really good introduction, the previous work that's been done by the Department of Commerce is really important. So they did a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, some visioning work, but there's some action steps that need to be put under that vision and that SWOT, and that's what we're going to work on. So we're going to align with that previous work. You've also got a project underway with Kimley Horn and your comprehensive plan. So they're doing a lot of research, they're doing engagement right now. We're going to pull information from that process, so alignment's going to be important. Under engagement, you've got several organizations that are involved in the sphere of business, community, and economic development. And this project is really to ask, what can the city do to be a better, stronger partner of these organizations, and where are the gaps that the city can fill? It's not to duplicate any of these organizations, any of their work, but we're going to engage with them to see where can the city support and fill in appropriately. We'll also apply best practices from other communities that we've worked in, and maybe some that you consider to be aspirational communities as well. And then we will have a strategy for the Development Services Department and an action plan, of course, with some performance measures and ways to track that as well. So the deliverables of our project will be alignment with the previous work and also the current work with Kimley Horn that is underway. Engaging with stakeholders, your ally organizations across the city, and even more broadly, but that influence the work here. We will also have a workshop with you to vet the strategic framework action plan at the end, so you will all be engaged as well. We will apply best practices, end up with an actionable document with some performance measures for the Development Services Department so that they have their use it for their plan of work, if you will, and deliver that back to City Council. We propose to start next month in September, and as Kelly said, have this finished in time for your planning workshops that will start early next year. And I was really glad to hear that this came out of a previous workshop, and that you're moving forward on some ideas that you had from your previous workshop, but we'll wrap this up in time to have some information. And I'll just note that our firm provides a 1-year implementation retainer in every project. We've done that since we started. It means that we answer all your questions to make sure you get started out the door, and since we've been practitioners, don't like plans to sit on the shelf, so we make sure our clients are ready for implementation. It's something we've always done. So with that, I'll be glad to answer your questions and say we look forward to working with you and all of your staff and your allies.
Wonderful. Ms. Morphus, thank you for your presentation. So, Council, do we have any questions for Ms. Morphus, Ms. Johnson-Choice, or any other staff? All right. Hearing none, Mr. Livingston and Mr. Lawrence, the proposal that is in front of us is not to exceed 21.1. Are we able to vote on that? If council so chooses, are we able to vote on that this evening, or would you prefer to bring it back in the form of a resolution on the consent agenda at our next meeting?
Well, I mean, we can do it as a consent agenda item. The plan's already budgeted for. Mm-hmm. You've directed us to do this. We've done our research. We've selected the consultant we feel like is best suited for the job. So I'm okay with a go ahead motion if you feel comfortable with them. But I know our protocol is to take it back of the consent agenda, so with respect to that, I'll defer to you, Mayor.
Okay. Well, with that, Council, if there are no objections, then what I'd like us to ask the manager to do is please put this in the form of a resolution so that it's on the consent agenda for the next meeting, and that way we continue our practice of ensuring that everyone has a chance to see something, digest it, and then ultimately the vote would happen at the next meeting. If that's all right. Everyone comfortable with that? Head nods,
Right.
General? All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Look forward to working with all of you.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Mr. Arnold, if you continue with A2.
Sure. This is also an item that we talked about at length in the budget discussion. It's a new initiative that we want to embark on to help us build kind of our strategic plan, your information, our service level, and how we are performing. So this is the introduction tonight of what we are proposing to do, a citizen survey. I'm going to turn it over to Octavius and LaToya, who are going to be your primary staff coordinators of this effort. They're going to talk a little bit further about it and then introduce the consultant who's going to be virtually available and is going to review the proposal with you. So with that, Octavius.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Council, staff. I'd first like to start off by thanking you for just allowing this to be a part of the approved budget, adopted budget for 2026. Don't take things for granted, and the budget is very serious, so I appreciate you guys looking at this particular item and approving it. City Manager, thank you for your support. It's important that we, as department heads and managers, get the support from our leaders, our senior leaders. And Kelly, thank you for your guidance. It's also important. And LaToya, thank you for your vision for the future. She's been pushing this for the last 2 to 3 years, and we're finally here. This is, in fact, phase 2 of our strategic planning initiative. I get the opportunity to promote the strategic plan on your behalf. The strategic plan is a blueprint of how we are going to move forward as an organization. I get to promote that not only internally but externally. Internally, we track measures, we look at trends, we use the data to make decisions on what directions we'll go. This is phase 2, the community service, which will impact each of your districts. So it's important that we track and measure the data that comes back. It's a gut check for all of us. So I thank you for that. So looking at our strategic plan in general, this represents our core values: professionalism, integrity, and customer focus. When you look at the customer focus element of it, we listen to resolve issues, respond timely, and ensure citizen satisfaction. That's our message to the community. With that, I'll invite LaToya to come up and introduce ETC.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As Octavius mentioned, I am excited to see this community survey finally go forward. It is something that we've kind of been talking about and pushing for behind the scenes, and we're excited to get that honest feedback from our community. With us tonight, we'll have our project manager from ETC, who is Derek Harvey, and he will be the person who will work directly with us to develop and administer the survey, and he'll also talk to you about their process. And now I'll turn it over to you, Derek. Thank you.
Thank you, LaToya. Can everybody there hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. Council, Mayor, thank you guys for having me tonight virtually. My schedule is unable to allow me to be there in person, but thank you for allowing me to present this proposal and what we've planned for the city of Goldsboro tonight. The first thing I want to do is just talk a little bit more about ETC Institute. We're one of the nation's leading provider of market research for local governments. Since 2012, we've surveyed more than 1,200 communities around the world. As you can see on the map over there, it has those blue dots of where we've completed surveys before. We have done quite a bit of survey work in the state of North Carolina. I was going back through our database, and it looks like in the last 3 years, we've done over 45 community surveys in North Carolina alone. We were founded in 1983, and really for the past 30 years, we've been focused on these community surveys, and really our goal is to provide an objective assessment that leaders can depend on to make decisions to help improve the lives of their residents. A little bit more is we have three main areas of our business. One of them is the community engagement and satisfaction. That's where I work, and that's who you'll be working with on the project. That's to understand community needs and make informed decisions. We have a ridership and travel behavior section, and that's where we will actually send people out to ride buses and go to airports and collect travel data from people riding on those. And then we have a household and establishment travel that recruits households to capture vehicle demographic and traffic diary data for transportation planning. But like I said, you'll be working with me and the community engagement team. I'm Derek Harvey. I'll be the project manager and main point of contact. I'll be the one answering emails and hopefully in 4 months presenting the results to you virtually or in person as well. I've included my vice president, Jason Murado, and my assistant director on here, Ryan Murray. I included them because if for some reason I'm out on vacation, they will be the ones that will fill in for me. And if there is an issue where I can't make the final presentation, this is who would be filling in for me as well. So I wanted to make sure that you were aware of them and knew their names as well. When we do community service or community surveys, our purpose is really to objectively assess the city programs and services. We want to gather the input from the residents to help city leaders set those priorities, and we want to help identify areas of improvement for the community and really help you understand what your residents are saying in a data-driven way. The way we do this is ETC will work with the city to design a survey that is completely customized to the city's needs. That's what's great about ETC is we don't have just one survey that we give you with a set of questions. We allow you to make changes to all the questions. Even if you have a question that we typically don't ask, we'll work with you to make sure that the survey is what you need for the community to make sure you get the answers and results that you want. Each survey is going to be administered to a random sample of residential addresses. I'll talk about that a little bit later. And then we administer the survey by mail. We'll print and mail the surveys to each of the residents selected for the random sample. It'll be available online to be completed. And then we'll also have a call center that will be up and running for the survey as well. If anybody has any questions, they can call that, take the survey over the phone, or if they just have questions about the survey itself, we can answer those questions there. We also have the ability to do follow-ups via text, email, and social media. We will always talk with the city beforehand before we send any of that out to make sure that you're aware of that. And then the sample is finally designed to ensure results are statistically valid and representative of the community. Talking about that a little bit more, when we do these surveys, we're looking at the distribution of responses. On the left there is a map of Los Gatos, California, a community we just got done surveying this spring. Each dot on there, it represents a completed survey. As surveys come in, we're really looking for a good distribution of survey responses to make sure we hear from all areas of the city and community. In Los Gatos, we were able to do that. The big areas that you only see a few dots in are the mountain areas of the city. So not very many people live there, but we still got responses from there. And really, this is what we're looking for, and ETC is tracking that on the back end when we're doing the survey. The responses on there have all been coded to the block level to maintain respondent anonymity. And we're also monitoring the race ethnicity breakdown of the survey results. We're looking at the census data to make sure that we're in line with that as well. We're looking at the age breakdown of the survey results to make sure we're hearing from all age groups, especially that 18 to 24 age group's really a big one. We want to make sure we're hearing from the young folks in the community. And then finally, we can track income. We're really going to look for that bell curve on the income where we'll look at the median salary and make sure that we have the bell curve of results there. And then for gender, we're going to be trying to get a 50-50 response between male and female as well to make sure that when we look at the results on the back end, we can have cross tabulations between those and you can see the differences there. For the random sample, I'm going to use Los Gatos' map here to demonstrate what we do. We take the shapefile of the city, which is what you see here for Los Gatos on the left. we'll place that on your map for Goldsboro, and we're going to purchase all the residential addresses in the city for that. Once we do that, we're going to make sure each one's in your city shapefiles, and that's what we're going to select the random sample from. That will ensure that each residential address has the same percentage chance to be selected for the survey. And once we do that, that's when we will dive into sending out emails, making sure we follow up. And let's see, we'll jump into the Goldsboro sampling plan that I've talked with staff about as well. For Goldsboro, we're going to have a goal of 400 completed surveys from city residents. With that, that'll give us a margin of error of a plus minus 4.87% at the 95% level of confidence. At ETC, we want to aim for a margin of error at about 5%, so that's where we came in here. We're also going to design the sample to ensure each council district is represented. We're going to make sure that we get 65 completed surveys from each of the 6 council districts. Now, by doing this, this is going to allow for valid comparisons between the council districts. So on the back end, when we look at the results, we can look at the results by council district and see if there's any statistical differences between the districts as well. Like I said, when we select the random sample, we're probably going to send out about 4,000 surveys to the community. We're looking for about a 10% response rate with that. That'll get us to 400. ETC is not going to charge the city for any surveys completed above that 400. We do have communities that set goals at 400 and we end up with 600. We're not going to charge you for putting the data verification in for those extra 200. And then when residents complete the survey online, they will have to enter their address. This is how we do our validation checks on the online surveys. We'll match it back to the random sample that we selected to make sure they were part of that random sample. If they weren't part of that random sample, it will be held separate from the random sample and the non-random area. If we receive enough of those non-random responses as well, we can provide that data for the city. But that's how we do our checks. It is also how we make sure that one address doesn't complete 8 different surveys, so that one person isn't just saying, coming in and trying to skew the results one way or the other. And then finally, once we're done with the sampling plan, we've completed all the surveys, we've got our 400, we've got our council districts, ETC is going to deliver a comprehensive final report. In that report, it's going to have an executive summary. It's going to go over the methodology that I just went over with you here. It's going to explain that we set goals for each council district, the margin of error, and then it's going to go over the key findings, go through the report that sets out the priorities. We're going to have charts and graphs for every question on the survey. We're going to have a benchmarking analysis. ETC maintains its own benchmarking, so we have national benchmarking and regional benchmarking that we can provide. The national and regional benchmarking is from a survey we do every summer. We complete a survey from 5,000 residents in the United States and complete that. And we have our national benchmarking with about 50 questions that we'll provide. And we'll be able to tell you which questions can be benchmarked and which ones can't. But that will allow you to see how you're doing regionally and nationally. We'll have an important satisfaction analysis. This is where we start to determine the priorities for the community that I mentioned later. This takes into consideration the resident satisfaction with different city services, as well as the importance they place on each of those services. So by doing that, we're able to give you a priority level order of services and give you a top 3 or 4 that residents are either less satisfied for, or they're saying, hey, these are extremely important to us and we need these to be in the top areas. We'll have GIS maps by council district. So that Los Gatos map I showed earlier, that's what the GIS maps will look like, except that each council district will have shading from a very dark blue to a very dark red for each question. And that'll be the average response that was received from that council district for that question. So by going through the maps, you can see the difference in council districts and the way they answered those questions quickly by looking at the maps. We'll provide crosstabs by council district. That'll be all the questions on the survey, looking at each council district and if there's statistical differences between the council districts and on certain questions, and we'll make sure to highlight those and really explain to staff and council how to read those so that you can fully understand them. We'll provide the tabular data. That'll just be the full results of questions that we have. And then finally, we'll provide any open-ended comments that are from the survey. If we have any open-ended questions on the survey, we'll provide all the comments. We will review those to make sure that we look out for language or anything that may be an issue that we don't want printed in a report. But we will talk to staff about that before we do remove anything. And then finally, the final survey instrument will be included in the report. And then the great thing is staff has been talking about making a dashboard for the city as well that ETC will provide. Everything on here, the screen that you see, will be provided in that dashboard that will be available to the mayor, to council, to go in and see in real time the dashboard and do your own cross tabulations, look at questions, and then it'll also have those GIS maps on there. It'll have all the charts and graphs. It will also have the benchmarking on there as well. And we see that's great for when you do go into those meetings early next year. If you do have a question that comes up, you can go into the dashboard, quickly find that question, take a look at it, maybe look at the cross tab by age breakdown as well, just to make sure that you have all the information. And that's what the dashboard will help provide. Finally, thank you guys once again for having me tonight. I can't answer any questions, and hopefully in about 4 months I will be there with you presenting the final results of the survey.
Wonderful. Mr. Livingston, take back over, and then I'll call for if there's any questions.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. As you can see from this presentation, this kind of follows up with what Octavius alluded to as our community engagement piece of our strategic plan. It will also serve as a foundational approach for future budgets, possibly some implications with some policy changes, and kind of provide us a snapshot in each district of where our strengths and weaknesses might be. And it does come back to our core values of customer service. If we're not going to survey our customers, we're not going to really know how we're doing. So this is going to allow us to do that, and we want this to be the start of a benchmark for year one, and hopefully we'll be able to address the issues that arise through the years and improve our service delivery. So that's the overall goal.
I think it's a fantastic tool. We all can fall prey to listening to the same 13 to 55 people, that get in our ears and tell us things, and you gotta at some point have a tool to step back and help you see the whole city. And so I very much respect this and very much support this. Councilor, are there any questions for Ms. Henry, Mr. Murphy, or our consultant?
I have a couple.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So are we going to be able to choose our own questions and tailor it specifically to Goldsboro? And is there an example of a survey that we could see or even possibly take just to give it a test run?
We have an example of a survey that we can make sure goes out to everyone, and we would be able to work directly with ETC to shape the questions and completely personalize our survey.
Just one more question. So after we get the 65 votes that you guys want to accomplish from each district, does your advocacy stop to get more? So you know how you said you wouldn't charge us if we got more than 400. So would you still be doing that real hard push in the communities and social medias and emails and all those touch points even after you collect the 65 surveys?
Yes, we would.
Okay.
Typically, we administer the survey for 4 to 6 weeks. During that entire time, we're tracking everything. We'll give updates to staff that can pass along updates to you. But yes, we'll be working to get that 65. Like I said, if we receive more from a district, that's fine. But we're going to keep working for those 4 to 6 weeks or so, or until it looks like that we've exhausted the community from the survey and we're just not receiving those responses anymore at a rate that it should continue and that we already have our responses we need.
And my last question is, do we feel confident that receiving, let's just say 400, let's just say we get 400, okay? That is a good snapshot of almost 35,000 people of what the city looks like, what our needs are, and how people connect to services or lack thereof. Like, is that a good snapshot?
Well, talk about confidence intervaling and how you came up with that number. If you don't mind talking through the math, because that is a good point. That is, statistics is something that I didn't do all that well in college.
Yeah, absolutely. What slide am I looking for? There it is. So we came up with the goal for 400 because looking at communities that we've done surveys similar sizes, we typically do 400 for a community of your size. Now, when we come to look at that, we get a margin of error of 4.87% at the 95% level of confidence. Usually when we look at a survey, we want to be right around 5% for that, and that's typically what a lot of other firms will use as well. But that 4.87% at the 95% level of confidence means that if we did this survey 100 times with a random sample of the city of Goldsboro, we would expect 95 of those times to come back within this same margin of error of 4.87% for each question. So that's what that 95% level of confidence means.
I was kind of curious to see if you would get into R value calculations or where you would go with that one, but you kept it very surface level. Bottom line is when you do the math, at a city of our size, 400 gives you the confidence level that you need. And obviously, if we're able to get more data, then if you do get more than 400, does that get factored in?
Yes, that will be factored into the final report. So if we do receive upwards to 600, that the margin of error would drop down, but you would see that in the executive summary as well, that the margin of error is updated there.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, how would you handle, I know you said that they would have to enter their addresses. So that way, entering their addresses, you would basically know what districts that this information was coming from. So let's just say that the addresses show that the survey came from a specific district and not the others. How are you going to handle that?
Yeah, we'll be tracking it on the back end. So if the address comes in and it's in the district, that's what it'll get coded on as the back end. But we have teams double checking to make sure that the addresses are what we selected in the random sample on the back end as well. So we're checking all of that to make sure that the district is correct. And then we have our team double checking that on the data verification process as well.
Okay. Council, any other comments or questions on this one? Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Murphy, I have a question for you. I'm looking at all the options, especially the cost, and I'm weighing it in my mind how much per each one of those surveys, the 400 that will come back, the 65 per district. And looking at the options, looking at the dashboard, the option also of translating it and looking at our demographics, do you even see that that's a benefit to have that interpreted into other languages? Or
we talked about if that would be a need. I don't think we've made a decision on that at this point, but I think that would be something that we'd have to take a look at. What's that within our city limits? What's that population of Spanish speaking? I guess we would have to look at census information to kind of get some of that type of information to determine if it's something that would be worth that.
But to your point, our demographics change daily. The makeup of our community is more diverse than ever. Fortunately, ETC came in under the amount that was allotted for the project. So we'll be able to do things such as marketing and promote this initiative throughout the project, and we can focus in on those focus areas throughout the project. So we'll have some flexibility, and Derek will advise us accordingly throughout the project process itself. But we're in a great position, and we're going to strongly solicit your support throughout this process, just as we've been doing throughout the years with the Citizens Academy. As we promote this, we're going to ask you to promote it within your districts, because this is important. This data that we'll be tracking and measuring is critical to our success as we plan forward. Growth, economic development, business development, community engagement, all those factors are pillars within this process.
I have one more other question. And definitely the survey looks phenomenal, and reviewing everything. Do we currently have any other avenues that within our entity that we capture information through a QR code on Facebook, or when you're getting your water bill, any of that? Do we currently have a customer satisfaction QR code that funnels that information already to staff and different departments?
No, I mean, the opportunities for people to give input would be our citizen request form online. And then I do think they still have comment cards downstairs when you come into City Hall. But, you know, really those would be the ways. And I think one thing that makes the survey so exciting and so something that we've been pushing for is because we are getting a representative sample, because it is a scientific process that we can kind of have some confidence in the results that we receive, and getting the sense that we're hearing from every pocket of the city.
And each district measured equally?
Yes.
But they will yield different results, because the results are needs-based, and each district has different needs.
Just conclude. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say that I totally understand where Councilwoman Weeks is coming from about the cost of trying to translate those surveys, but I will say, given the fact that we have a growing population of Spanish and Haitian members of our community now, that I think it would be really unfair that if we do not include them, at least give them the opportunity to be able to read it and to, you know, try to give their input so we can know what their needs are as well.
To that point, I have a clarifying question. The optional cost, I'm looking at the proposal. This is the last page. It says optional cost to translate a survey into a language other than Spanish would be 25 cents per word. So is that can I then infer from that the survey will be available in Spanish and English by default?
Optional cost,
yes.
So we would.
Well, so yes, because the optional cost would be if you're doing a language outside of English or Spanish, right?
Right.
So if we were doing Creole or we were doing French or something like that, but I just want to make sure that I'm inferring correctly. English and Spanish are by default, right? Including
Yes.
the cost. Okay.
For the online version.
Okay.
So question,
Yes.
in reference to that. So I take it you guys, in working with the representative, will, with the consultant, will come up with how many other languages you want to translate that into, because if it's 25 cents per word and we're translating it into so many languages and absolutely nobody takes advantage of it, we still have to consider that cost.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Yes, ma'am.
I think my last question was, and forgive me if you addressed this, because I do remember you talking about email and the mailers going out and telephone. So those individuals who, is this going to be an online survey? Like they have to do this online, right?
So, yeah, it will be online, but we will send out printed surveys to those selected 4,000 households. Okay. So they will have the option to complete the mailed form, and we will have a return envelope in that mail as well, and they can send that right back to ETC Institute. And then, but typically, we will provide a cover letter with the survey, that will be on official city letterhead that just explains the purpose of the survey, why they received the survey, and then it will also have phone numbers on there. If they have any questions or if they would like to complete it over the phone, they can give us a call and we'll help them do that as well.
Question answered.
Council, any other comments, questions? Mr. Livingston, do you know off the top of your head what number was budgeted for this already?
It was around 25,000. I think Kelly can speak to it. 30,000. Okay.
30. Okay, so 30 is already
30
in the
was my
budget
request.
for this, and the proposal on the table. I realize that there's two versions, a 300 and a 400. I think we've heard the 400. If there's no additional comments or questions, then I think what I would ask is for staff to go back, prepare the resolution at the amount that we've heard. Give us, let us see exactly what we're looking at for cost. Give us a final version of the resolution within the budget that's been put out there, and then let's have it on the consent agenda for our next meeting. Is that reasonable, council? That way everyone has opportunity to see it, and then ultimately next meeting we can vote on it if we so choose.
And that includes the translations.
Includes the translations. Yes, I want to see a finished product that we're looking at so we can vote on it. All right. Yes, ma'am.
Because I know some Haitian people, they speak Creole, some
Right.
speak French. So
Right.
exactly how many words are in the survey? Do we know yet?
But I don't think any of
I
that's
haven't created it.
Yeah, it's not
But,
been
you know,
created yet.
So that would be something that I guess we really wouldn't be able to give the final cost if we decided to do other translations until we completely put the survey together and know what that final count would be.
For sure, there can be a reasonable estimate based on
Yeah,
survey and
yeah,
like
we can
communities
look
and
at-
other parts. You know, and be able to say this one, a very similar circumstance. The survey came out to roughly this many words. That this, so, I mean, we can get in the ballpark.
Right.
And I think that's really what council needs to see. So, council, I think there is a question here to be had. Is council? I think English and Spanish is a given. Does council, I think we do need to give staff some direction. Do we want to see French or Creole added to this?
I do.
I do.
I do.
Okay. So I think we've got at least a few vocal members here. Let's see what that would look like. Plan on doing it in French, Spanish, and English. And let's get a resolution in front of council. Does that seem reasonable, everybody?
Yes.
That way we actually have something real to vote on. All right. Mr. Livingston?
We're good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. And thank you, sir. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Item 8.3, council meeting streaming discussion. I will yield to Mr. Livingston in just a second, but this is something that I want to be very clear what my interpretation of what it is that we're talking about right now. This is talking about where, and if I'm incorrect on this, I know Mr. Livingston will correct me. What we're talking about is which platform is going to house the videos. We're not suggesting doing away with profiles on Facebook or X or anything else, and we're still planning on having links on these other platforms. We're talking about where the videos are going to be housed and cataloged, as I understand it. Is that correct?
I think we're also talking about the viability of having two streaming platforms. One's Facebook Live, the other being YouTube,
Right.
and what the benefits thereof of both of those platforms are.
Right.
And
But either way, we're not talking about doing away with streaming overall. We're talking about condensing it to one platform,
That's
YouTube.
correct.
There would still be links to the videos on Facebook or any other social media platforms. I just want to make sure we're all level on what it is we're talking about so that we can debate it on the merits. And so with that, I will open up the floor. Mr. Livingston, did you have any other preface that you'd like to add? Or
Mr. Mayor, the only thing that I wanted to say is that when we talked about this, I did not, I was not able to get in touch with Councilwoman Matthews, and in retrospect, I should have done that. I tried, but I didn't get through, and that was I should have put it on myself to make sure I actually talked to her. So I regret that. I'll leave it at that.
Roger that. So, council, Comments, feedback on this. Ultimately, I believe that it is the desire of the manager to get a council vote on exactly what direction that we are going with this. So with that, council, comments, questions, concerns? Yes, ma'am.
I'll go ahead and jump into it, and I'll be quick. I wanted this added to the agenda because the decision was made, one, unbeknown to me, and the city manager and I have already discussed that, and I have moved past that. But where my concern is in terms of why we did what we did is where I am extremely unclear. The reason that was told to me is completely different from the reason that we are sharing with the general public. And in light of transparency, I think it's fair that we be honest, one. The second thing is, I don't think it's fair for us to remove Facebook Live when it houses 14,000 followers to go to a platform that just does have 400 followers, or maybe 600, I can't remember. 599 to be exact. We had someone speak earlier today, and she took the words completely out of my mouth, is Facebook is where we have our captive audience. Now, if the reason that was told to me is the reason why we decided to have this conversation, there are creative ways in which we can monitor the comment section. If there are people being personally attacked, or there are things being said that people don't like, but moving to a platform with way less engagement just doesn't seem fair to me. There was not proper notice, in my opinion, to let the public know that that was happening, because last meeting my phone was blowing up with people asking me where the Facebook Live was. So I am asking council, and I requested that our meetings go back to Facebook Live until we had this discussion that everyone was privy to, because I was not contacted in any regard about this matter. Nonetheless, I am asking council to reconsider and to continue to let our platform be Facebook Live. And if we have to choose one, it just makes more sense to me to stay where we have our captive audience, which would be Facebook. There was a couple claims made about what other entities are doing in other municipalities, and I've oftentimes asked us when we poll other municipalities to get a real clear vision, because if we only poll municipalities and share that information, it kind of agrees with our narrative. There are other municipalities that have found creative ways to address negative, nasty comments during Facebook Live, which I think we should approach. And if anybody knows anything about personal attacks, it should be me up here. And yet I am still advocating for Facebook to be live and for those people to be able to chime in with their comments and their concerns. I do think we should find a more creative way to allow people to do that, to minimize distraction of people actually trying to be paying attention to the meeting, because sometimes those comments and those narratives and those opinions can be very distracting, and sometimes they can be downright nasty. And I think we should be able to streamline those type of things. But I am asking this board, it was brought to my attention that the majority agreed that they wanted to go to Facebook, not under the same premises that we're sharing tonight, but I won't get into that if the board chooses not to. But I'm asking you to reconsider your decision to use YouTube as our only streaming platform for our city council meetings.
I'll just quickly respond. I'm not trying to be deceitful. I'm not trying to hide anything from anybody. I wanted to level set on exactly what it was that we were talking about. Nothing more, nothing less. We each have our own reasons for voting for anything that we vote for. My personal opinion is that streamlining to where that it is being housed on one platform, I still think there need to be links to it everywhere. I'm not suggesting that we in any way make it harder to get to. I'm just simply saying house it, have the repository of videos where that they are consistent, easily accessible, and in a place that is designed for videos. That is my personal opinion on it. We can all vote for our own individual reasons. Mine is not trying to limit discourse. Mine's certainly not trying to make it harder to get to. It's simply to bring a repository to a single place.
May I respond?
Yes, ma'am.
So in light of that, because I can support that. So if YouTube can be the hub to house the videos if in fact Facebook doesn't have the infrastructure or the capacity to do that. But I still think right now I am talking about us maintaining Facebook Live for our viewers and people who interact with those meetings versus us only choosing YouTube. I tried to access it. You can't comment or interact with the videos unless you have an account and you're logged in. That's a lot. That's a lot. When people already have Facebook apps on their phone and they log in and they have it right there accessible in their hands. So what I'm saying is, if in fact we want to house videos, sure, let's use YouTube to house them, but I'm saying do not eliminate the access to the Facebook Live for our city council meetings.
Yes, sir.
I think he was next.
I'm just twirling my glasses for
Oh,
the time
okay.
being, but you go right ahead. I'll make comments short.
Well, I'm in agreement with Councilwoman Matthews as far as why to use Facebook Live, and it's because a plethora of our constituents use Facebook. We're trying to encourage a younger population to get more involved in the community. We do know that platform is one of the platforms that they regularly use. It's a little bit easier to access, and anytime it's more difficult to get somewhere, people usually won't go through the difficulty of doing it. So if we in fact are trying to encourage our constituents to get more involved, we do know that Facebook is the platform that they choose over YouTube.
Yes, sir.
Just a couple of comments. So I know that there's been some misinformation out there and people just sort of mistaken about what the status of this is. And I think the mayor already sort of alluded to this. I think it's very important to point out to the public that all through the time that Facebook has been a part of our format, the public has been able to go to Facebook, watch the meeting. So where are we now? We're still in the exact same place that we were. You still go to Facebook and you still watch the meeting. That's not changed. It's just when you click the link on Facebook, it actually is showing you the live feed that's going on to storage at YouTube. So our viewers have not lost any access or any whatsoever way to view the live stream. And I had occasion, along with a few others of us, to speak at a town hall this past weekend or weekend before last and this subject, of course, come up. And I also would like to point out, and I'm sure that somebody will chime in and correct me if I'm wrong, but this will be the third meeting that the city council has had since the format change. The first meeting that we had looks on Facebook exactly like it does now, which if you go to Facebook like you've always done through the years, there's the link, you click on it and you watch. The second meeting, which was the last meeting of these three I'm speaking of, that ability was not there because there was an oversight with our IT department that forgot to put the link on Facebook. And that was an honest mistake, I think, that sort of caused folks to be misinformed. So along those lines, again, our citizens, or anyone in the world for that matter, with internet access, has always been able to go to Facebook, watch the city council meeting. They can still go to Facebook and watch the city council meeting. That has not changed. And I think that's important to put that out there. I really hadn't had a discussion with anyone, and it hadn't come out until now when Councilwoman Matthews brought it up about the comments that's on there. I don't personally, I've never looked at those comments. Occasionally somebody will screenshot something and send it to me, and I'm sure everyone up here is the same, but I never go and look at those comments or pay attention to them for the reason that when you want to address an elected body, where it's the city council, county commissioners, or somebody in Arizona at their council meeting, you come, you sign up, you come, you address that elected body. So if you got folks out that are on those links making comments, I don't go look at them, because in my opinion, that's doing a disservice to the folks that come and make the proper way to come here, sign up, speak to us in that manner, instead of the person that's sitting at home in the recliner typing whatever's coming out right that minute is doing a disservice to the folks that come here and do it the right way and speak to the council in that format. That's Chris's opinion in that regard, and one of the reasons I do not look at those comments. So if someone says, well, I want to be able to comment, well, again, you could still go to Facebook like you've always done, click share it to your page, and everybody can comment. It's a public link and everybody can comment. People can still comment, but I can promise you that this city council person for the city of Goldsboro and District 2 does not look at those comments or put any weight into them, because I don't think it's substantiated. Because there's a process to be able to speak to the city council, and it's not from the recliner. So I'm 100% okay with how things are, with a single format for it to be presented on. And one more thing, just for the public, I pointed out in that town hall meeting that their ability to go on Channel 10 and watch the meeting like it's always been done is still there. And someone pointed out, no, that's not accurate, that we've been there before and we've not been able to see the meeting. So I followed up on that with the city clerk and the ID department, and those of us up here already know this probably, but there was a fiber glitch between this building and the building next door, and the signal was showing on our end that it was going to the TV station, but what was actually going to the TV station was a blank signal. So when folks were going to Channel 10, there was nothing there. But that problem was identified and corrected, and that's no longer an issue. So you can go to YouTube, you can go to Facebook, and you can go to Channel 10 to watch the meeting like you've always done, and that's why I'm okay with it like it is. And that's all my comments, Mr. Mayor.
Councilwoman Taylor, and then Councilwoman Matthews. Councilwoman Taylor?
Okay. So when I found out we were going to have this discussion, I went and I did a little research. And so in North Carolina, we have 100 counties, and each county has a county seat or a city. And so what I did was I went through all of those and I looked up what everyone does, because I really had never thought about it and never paid any attention, so I wanted to know. Out of 100 of those city seats, I found that 22 cities had it listed that they used YouTube. 13, they used Facebook. And then I had a great majority that I could not find anything listed at all. I even called a few of the numbers and asked, and they said, no, we do not broadcast it. The largest amount of cities that I found, what they did, they had a mixture. So some of them are using a platform called Vimeo. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of it before or not. And then they're using the local TV channels, and then some of them have links on their actual city websites where you can go and you can watch it and download it. And then some of those too are using YouTube. So, but for the majority of the ones I looked and saw, a lot of them are using Vimeo, the local TV channels, and the city websites with links to YouTube. And then there was those 13 cities out of the 100 that I could find that were using Facebook. So that's just a little info that I found when I was researching.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman, floor is yours.
A couple things I want to address, some things that Mr. Boyette said. That first meeting, unbeknown to me, because there was no efforts to contact me, and I wanted to keep this very, very just straight to the point, but I see what is happening here across this dais that happens so often. There was no effort to contact me, so no, I had no idea that we were no longer streaming it on Facebook. I wasn't privileged to that conversation, so I didn't know that. As far as the second meeting, I requested that our Facebook Live go back up until we as a council could discuss it together. That also did not happen, and I'm finding out it is also not broadcast now as I have requested, because I think it's fair for us to talk as a group before that decision was made. But it appears that not only do the comments for the people, and let me go ahead and tell you this, talk to me from the recliner, talk to me from the park bench, talk to me from your job, talk to me from wherever you got to talk to me from, because what I understand is that some people are not going to come up here and speak at this podium. And sometimes I don't even blame you, because the disrespect sometimes that people come when they speak against this board is obscene. And it breaks my heart to see how even sometimes we respond to certain people when we already think that we know what they're going to say when they come across this dais. Let me go ahead and tell you the truth, since we want to spin it. The truth is, when I talked to our staff, they let me know that there were several members of this council who no longer wanted to stream Facebook Live because they felt that they were being personally attacked in the comments. That is unacceptable, and that is not how we should do business. Now, we can make up all of these other nice smokescreen reasons as to why we did that, because it is absolutely very possible for us to still do everything that they just mentioned, because I have yet to hear a good reason as to why we disable Facebook. Cool, Jamie, your research, great. Mayor, you want to find a storage, great, we can still do that. Chris, you don't want people talking to you because you think they're supposed to come up here, great, that's your opinion. Please do not associate me with that at all, because I do not feel that way under any circumstance. But you have not provided me with a good enough reason as to why we should not use the platform that has over 4,000 people following it. And I'm almost certain there are way more people that are engaging with that page than just those that click follow, because anybody can search the City of Goldsboro on Facebook and you can get that page and you can engage with all of our information. So I still have not heard a good enough reason, and you're not going to make me believe that conversations about this have not been had amongst this group. And if it hasn't, then I talked to city leadership after I was not privileged to this information. That is the information that I got. I was completely outraged, and that is the reason why we did this, because it happened so fast. I also couldn't understand why it happened so fast. You would think we was under some type of deadline or something like that. And I'm also outraged at the fact that I also requested that for those council members who felt that way, that they were being personally attacked in those comments, to bring proof of that. Because if you are being personally attacked, and I know firsthand, it is unacceptable, because some of the nasty and meanest of things have been said about me in those comments. So I get it, and I'm with you on that. That is not fair to us from the seat that we sit in. But if anybody provided that information, or if our city leadership even shared that request amongst you, because I support you in that. I don't support you stifling those voices, but I do support that we need to do something about those nasty comments that are actually personally attacks, because there is a major difference between accountability and attacks. And people saying that they are not happy with the decisions that we are making and they are going to use their voice at the ballot box is not a personal attack. That is some show enough accountability, and it is absolutely their right. So if you guys have a different opinion, then I'm telling you what was shared to me from our city leadership, and it was absolutely unacceptable, and it was maddening to me that is the decision that we made based on those premises. So again, I am saying, I think we can still use our Facebook Live. We can still go up there and we can click the button and people can watch it, because that is where our captive audience is. We just heard from someone who was bold enough to come before the podium today and tell us, and spoke on behalf of so many people. And if we don't even listen to that, then what are we doing here? I'm asking us to let's get creative, y'all, because I talked to a municipality who told me how they got creative with their comments. I shared that with you earlier. Would love to share that information if you care about that. But I think we can get creative in a way to kind of put a muzzle on some of those nasty comments, or at least move them so that they are not distracting from the business and those people who are trying to truly engage with our videos. So again, I am asking this board to reconsider your decision to still show our streams on Facebook Live of our city council meetings.
Thank you. So yes, ma'am.
I had a couple things.
Go ahead. Yes, ma'am.
So I honor that Ms. Taylor did some research. I contacted the Board of Education, our county commissioners. I spoke with the mayor of Wilson, Smithfield, and Rocky Mount. And the trend for a lot of people is posting the link like we have been doing on the Facebook page and going to YouTube. When I spoke with the city managers there and asked why, I spoke to either the city manager or the mayor. Back in February, Facebook come up with a new video retention. They will only hold your videos for 30 days. And already I can see, because I do a lot of Facebook live streaming myself, I can already see that Facebook has begun to take down those videos as they have stated in that new requirement. So if you post the link to YouTube on the Facebook page, you still are providing that information, and then it allows the IT, it directs it straight to YouTube so that you do not have any interruption of storage of your videos. And each one of those entities said that that is the reason why that trend has come in place. And also, ironically, it was interesting that many of them do not even publicize their public comment sections on TV. So that was, or comments publicly. So that was just interesting information to find out from other entities across the state. And especially locally here within a 30 to 45 mile radius of us.
Understood. Thank you. Are there any other comments? And then Councilwoman Matthews, I'll yield the floor back to you. All right. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to respond to that. I talked to someone from the Board of Education and one of our county commissioners, and that has just been their standard practice to use YouTube. There was some use during the pandemic. So what I'm saying is we cannot do these things to try to spin the narrative that we want to spin. That has been their standard practice of how they have shown their meetings. So then that's just that. Our standard practice has been we use YouTube. And again, nobody has shared a good enough reason. So this is my first time hearing about the cap on Facebook. Cool, I'm with it. We still are gonna use YouTube to house our videos. Still. We can still have that platform for our folks, because nobody has told me a good enough reason why we shouldn't do that. And we can still use YouTube as our hub. And excuse me for just a moment.
And we'll stand in recess for 3 minutes. Then we're back. All right. We are still in the debate, just the general conversation on 8.3. Council, there's been substantial debate. If there are any remaining comments, we'll hear them. If not, entertain a motion to go whichever direction is the council desires to go.
I make a motion that we continue to use Facebook live stream in light of what you have shared, Mayor, about Storage Hub. I say that we continue to use both streaming platforms and use YouTube as our storage hub for those videos.
All right, motion has been made to use Facebook Live, and then also to go back to dual streaming, right? Yeah. That motion has been made. Is there a second?
Yes, I second.
All right, a motion has been made and properly seconded to go back to dual streams. We'll vote electronically.
That was probably me, Ms. Reese. I refreshed, so I didn't get a chance, but I am voting in the affirmative of the motion.
Everybody in for it? All right. Votes having been tallied, the motion fails on a 2-5 vote. Council, is there any other, Mr. Lawrence, does this, the motion to go back to the dual streaming motion was made and failed. Do we need to have another motion in the affirmative to do the single route, or are we to infer?
You're already doing your
Okay.
single route.
Okay.
So that motion there would have been to change what you're doing.
Right.
So that motion failed.
Well, I don't even know really what we're doing because 3 different people said 3 different reasons and 3 different things. So I don't even know what we're doing.
So, Mr. Lewison, would you just simply state not the whys? I just want to state for the public, where will links be available and where will the videos be stored?
So as we're currently doing is it will be a link to YouTube from our Facebook page that you click on. And my understanding is you can still comment there if you have an account. I guess I didn't realize that, but that's what we're doing right now. If we have any technical questions, we can ask Brad to come in here and try to answer those, but I'm not the expert on those kind of things. So
I don't have any technical questions, but I also want to be clear, which is why I stopped linking the YouTube link to my Councilwoman page where I post the agenda every first and third Monday, is because it throws off the algorithm. So in addition to us just posting a link, and again, with no notice or knowledge to the public that we were even changing the platforms, the algorithm is thrown off when we attach certain links to our posts. Sometimes it doesn't get seen by certain people, and it's all algorithm instead of it being easily accessible by our folks. And you guys have already done the vote, and I'm not going to belabor the point right now, but I'm going to talk about it in my public comments because it was a clear indication of what we just did right now. It was very clear, and I hope everybody is watching. It don't got nothing to do with no storage hub. It's got everything to do with people feeling like they've been personally attacked and the comments, and they want to stifle your voices because they don't like what you said. And that's the truth of the matter. And if it's not the truth, it came from our city leadership. And if our city leadership is lying to me, then I have a problem with that. And I didn't want that truth to be told because I thought we could sit up here and work together and come to a commonality, but this group of people have already talked amongst themselves like they do every single time, and they've already come up with a decision, and every single reason that they gave was utterly almost ridiculous and not a good enough reason as to why we should move from our Facebook Live platform. Outside of everybody not being honest about why they really wanted to do that. Because city leadership told me there were several members of this board who wanted to make this change because they felt like they were being personally attacked in the comments. And don't address me, we can address city leadership because that is what was shared to me when I finally had to hunt him down to ask what was going on with the Facebook Live. You want to talk about transparency? Let's be transparent for real. We got all these stipulations on these organizations that do business with us, and yet we can't even be honest. And it was sad of me to even expect this board to be honest. That was my bad. You get up here and you talk about how well we work together, and every time I come up here and think and talk about something, you guys already got your minds made up. You already know how I feel about it. You ain't gotta like me. You're gonna show me some respect up here.
Understood. Let's move.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So on our city website, does it specifically say how many places? I don't see it right now, but does it say that we can watch it on Channel 10? Does it say that we can see it on YouTube? Does it say?
The links are there. Yes, ma'am.
Right, because when I was looking at a lot of these cities, they have it like listed out each place, and this is where you can see it. And
it's on the council page. The links are there, so you can just click straight through. Ms. Getz showed me at one point where they were. Don't ask me to guide you sitting here right now, but I believe it was on the meetings page.
yeah, I was just looking, but when I click on it, it just goes to an agenda.
Wow.
Hold on.
if it's all right with council, let's go ahead and move to item 8.4. Ms. Taylor, we'll.
Yeah, I didn't see anything up there about Channel 10, but I do see the link
The
to go to
YouTube link.
YouTube. But if we can also watch it on a television station, then can
We need to add that date up there as well. Understood. All right, let's move to item 8.4, 2026 proposed Goldsboro City Council meeting dates discussion. This is again a draft. It's a proposal. This would have a couple of different changes at the behest of listening to council's comments. So in April, in this draft, there's one meeting that is proposed with the presumption that council would be interested in doing a budget work session somewhere, maybe a Friday from 3 to 5 or something like that, depending on when people are available. But that was the thought on that one. January, of course, February, there is one meeting scheduled, but again, you got to remember there's a council retreat that's proposed for the month of February as well. It would have 1 month in the meeting, one meeting in the month of July, and then one in December. This is not here for a vote this evening. Is to get it in front of council, give feedback to Ms. Getz, and then hopefully with this is something that we can go ahead and amend and get proposed and get voted on at our next council meeting. Just sitting here right now, is there any feedback on the council meeting dates? All right, I think it's a pretty good schedule. I like that it gives us more opportunities to have some deep dives. So I thought it was pretty good.
So if there's not any amendments, can we make a motion or?
It's certainly at the pleasure of council. If you want to go ahead and approve it, we certainly can. Or if you wanted to come back on the consent agenda at the next meeting, we can do that. All right. If there's any comments or feedback, make sure that they get to Mr. Livingston and Ms. Guts. All right, Mr. Livingston, City Manager report.
Thank you, Mayor. We have a couple items that I think are important this week. We have a legislative breakfast that'll be at Walnut Creek Country Club. We'll have Mr. Representative Jimmy Dixon, House Majority Leader John Bell, State Senator Buck Newton, talking about the North Carolina legislative session. Of course, there's not been a budget adopted, so there's I think there will be a lot of good information shared on that. And again, it's this Thursday, so I hope you can find a way to get there. Hopefully you can do that. Outside, you may have noticed we're doing some repairs on the fountain just to make it look nicer. That's a photo op for a lot of people. It was been sort of stagnant there for probably a year or more, and so we're fixing that. So hopefully that'll help, make people want to come back and take more pictures there. So that's all I got there.
All right. It is the second meeting of the month, so as we do our mayor and council member comments, we'll begin with Councilman White from District 6. Councilman, the floor is yours.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Just a quick point of clarification. I said earlier today, when we was talking about NC cycling, that we should talk to the National Guard. And the reason I said talk to the National Guard is because I saw a partnership that we could actually develop and have a tent city, so there'd be a better facility out there in case of inclement weather. So I do know that they have the capabilities of putting up GP mediums or tents so that they can accommodate more than just a 40-foot tent. So I just want to put that out there for point of clarification, that I was looking at partnership that we can continue to try to drive Goldsboro to be one of the most military-friendly cities, and build our partnership, because we do have more military in Goldsboro than just Seymour Johnson. So that was just a point of clarification. I would also like to say that school start back next week, so be mindful when you be driving and things of that nature, to be on the lookout for our little ones. High school football starts this Friday, so be mindful of the crowds at the high school, the stadiums. And then I will address the Facebook thing just quickly. I will say that I still say that Facebook is one of those platforms that our young people and some of our older people engage in, who can't make it up here to actually give comments. I'm not on any platform because I don't choose to be, but however, I do know that most people do like those options to actually watch the meetings. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Weeks, the floor is yours.
I just wanted to thank Councilman Boyette and also the city manager for putting out the information about the community roundtable over at Central Heights. I just wanted to publicly affirm our mayor, Councilman Boyette, and also our city manager, and also Commissioner Bevan Foster, if he's watching. That was one of the best community roundtable events I have ever attended, and I wanted to let you guys know that you were extremely impressive, and the knowledge that you shared that day, I honestly wished it could get out to every single district. I heard multiple people who were present say that that was the best community roundtable event they had ever attended. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for allowing me to be a part.
Councilman Matthews, the floor is yours.
So I want to say thank you. There were some women in the chambers tonight that came dressed in their white and denim with the main purpose of supporting me and showing up for me. And I appreciate Ms. Janet for organizing that and for always seeing and hearing me even when I don't have to say what my needs are. So I appreciate that. I want to say thank you to the staff, Jonathan and his staff, Jamie and his staff, Tim and Mike, who have been working really, really hard in the district. Also, thank you, Matt, for the support and some of the requests that I have put forth to get some things done in the district. Matt and Jonathan really went to bat for a light to be put at one of our bus stops where residents did not feel safe, and the community around it just knew that there needed to be some light, and Matt and Jonathan really stuck to their guns, and they really made the investment to get that done. So I wanted to publicly say thank you. I have put it on my councilwoman page, so I hope you guys are following that so you can keep up with District 4 and all the things we have going on, but I did want to say it publicly in case they are watching and didn't see the Facebook. I wish I could have got a snapshot of that last final vote as it relates to Facebook, because that is where truth is, right there. I tell people all the time, do not come up here and believe the words that we say, because we make them sound real pretty sometimes. You need to follow our actions, and the truth is always going to be in the vote. Not one reason was given to me as to why we should stop using our Facebook Live. What I did here was a lot of smoke screen for the real reason as to why we took away your voices and we took away your interactions. I don't care how pretty we make it sound. The vote indicated that there were 5 people who decided to take away your voice by way of the Facebook Live. And then they're just gonna give you an old option that they want you to have, not the one that's most convenient for you, because all power to the people. We should be sitting up here doing what's best for you, not what's best for us. Because I'm gonna reiterate, I have been personally attacked by the hands of some of these people that sit to my right and my left, and not one time have I ever advocated for anybody's voice to be stifled, any Facebook Live to be dismantled. But what I have did was try to come up with innovative and creative ideas so that people can stay focused while they're watching the meetings, because we do business. You've seen it tonight. We do big business, and people need to be paying attention to that, and they don't need to be distracted by narratives and people's opinions, and we need to know how to streamline that. But it was very possible for us to continue to do business as we've always done business. Have a Facebook. We haven't always done that way. They transitioned into the new age a little over a decade ago. So shout out to them and the people who advocated for us to go Facebook Live, because they understood that's where the people are. They're on Facebook. So I just wanted to really reiterate that this board, we did a huge disservice to our people, and I really feel like it was more personal than business. So I'm going to encourage you guys, as the veteran member sitting here, and I know from firsthand, don't bring your emotions to this table. We got business to do, and every time you allow your emotions to come here, we can see in how it goes and how we do business and the lack of stuff that we're able to accomplish. I have also extended the olive branch to each of you to say, if you got a personal beef with me, baby, let's go ahead and talk about it. Because I don't want anything to distract us really doing good business. We be saying all these cute things in our comments, how well we work together and we're so proud and we honor one another. No, we don't. That's not the truth. That's not the truth. And that's not the reality of it. So again, I'll extend it publicly and let the public know I have extended the olive branch several times. When this board was elected, I reached out to everybody. I always asked if everybody had what they needed. I did all the things that I thought a good leader should do. So here we are again. I'm just saying, when you come to this table, leave your emotions. And I also want to kind of give you like a warning. Your conversations aren't really private. Those conversations are getting back to people, and we know what's going on. And we know what's going on. So be very mindful of what you do in the dark, because it will come to the light. And I definitely shed some light tonight about the real reason why the majority of this board decided to no longer use Facebook Live, because that was the truth of the matter. I love you, District 4. Thank you.
Thank you. President, the floor is yours.
Yes, I would like to thank the city staff for a wonderful job that you do every day. I also would like to thank Jamie and his crew for helping District 1 when Carolina was flooded, and North End, and for sending the fire department out to help the young lady to get out of the flooded area. And I am very proud of my city, and I am very proud of District 1. Well, I did receive a call from Matt, and I returned his call. And my answer, and I'll tell you exactly what I said to him, because I have no problem sharing what I said with anyone. And I told him I did not care either way. However, I prefer YouTube. Now, I do not go on anyone else's page, and I do not go on the Facebook Live page at all. So if there's ever if I know anything that is on that page, and this is the truth, it is sent to me. I do not go up there. So with that, have a great weekend, and I am going to continue to work in my district and do the best that I can. I'm going to still continue to communicate with my district.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilwoman Taylor, floor is yours.
I just would like to thank the city staff for working so hard. I want to let people know that on Mulberry and Audubon, I've had a huge concern with that intersection about traffic, speeding, automobile accidents. And so thanks to working with Matt and Jonathan, we're going to be doing a study. And we're going to start studying some of these intersections that I think need four-way stop signs, or all-way stop signs, as some people call them. And so I just want to, thank them for helping me out, and that's it.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Boyette, floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. Quick question for the manager before I make my comments on, well, it actually will tie into them. The update that came out, and you mentioned the sale of the 4 acres of property out across from Bojangles. How long have we had that property?
We've had it for many, many years. We've been trying to sell it for about 2 years. I think we've just sold it for roughly $675. Octavius Community. We've been working on that with planning department and going back and forth with different amendments because they needed time extensions. There's underground utilities that will need to be relocated as part of that project. But the great thing about that particular one isn't the sale of land or anything like that. We've got other, it's the fact that that's going to be a really good business right there in town. That's going to have jobs for people and right there in a place that's really needing jobs. But anyway, that's just
right. Well, and I'm sure that we're referring to the old hotel property. And the reason that rang a bell with me is I remember back in when Mr. Ed Cianfera was our building inspector, this has been 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, the city condemned that property. And if memory serves me correct, the property owner didn't have the funds to bring the building down, so the city brought the building down and assessed or put a lien on the property. And I did not know that we had ended up with the property, so that was good news, and I was happy to see that. And so the Royal Farms, will this be their third location they're bringing to Goldsboro, or
I
is
think
this
it's
the
second? Yeah, the second
okay,
one.
Great. Okay. Well, it sort of tied into my comments. Thank you, Matt, for answering that question. So a whole list of stuff. Maybe it won't be too long because I wrote big. So as always, thank you to all of our hardworking city employees, each and every one of you. You're all valued and appreciated. The city could not run without you. A special shout out to a couple of folks. But first, welcome again to our new Deputy Public Works Director. Look forward to having him on board with us. And I'd like to say a special shout out to those of our employees that were honored tonight with their various awards and recognition. They do amazing work, and the Public Works Department and our code enforcement, and I talk about this all the time, but just to touch on a couple of things. That when I first got elected, there was a couple of things that have now happened that actually happened in the last budget cycle and was mentioned. One of the things that one of our employees won an award for was a workout at Musgrave Manor. And that problem has persisted in that neighborhood for decades, with them having flooding issues out there and extreme weather events that we had. And it was a priority of Mayor Allen's in the past to find the funds to be able to fix that particular issue out there. And it was just so astronomical what it was going to cost to get that done. It just was, the wheels were turning slow, and then we lost Mayor Allen, and that project sort of slipped by the wayside. And I get phone calls continually from all over the city because I've served the entire city for the last 2+ decades of time. And the residents of that neighborhood asked me, said, can you help get this project back rolling again? And I looped Councilwoman Taylor in because it's her district, and got together with our city manager now as city manager and our finance director, figured out, as was pointed out earlier, not only how to get the project done and finally get it done after decades of these folks out there waiting, but how to figure out how to get it done thanks to our manager and our finance director without any tax burden to our citizens. The money was already in a fund to be able to do it because the manager and our Public Works Department was instrumental in doing that work in-house. Our hardworking city employees did that job and saved hundreds of thousands of dollars below what it was bid at even pre-COVID. So, I mean, I just can't say enough about those employees that did that, because I can promise you those folks in that neighborhood are happy after all this time. And another item that I was happy to see get done was, and maybe it gets forgotten sometimes, but our cemetery that's right up the street here, the building that houses the equipment that those employees use out there. When I was going around, and Councilwoman Taylor was with me on some of those, viewing all of our departments and discussing needs from department to department after getting elected, we went into that building and you could look up and see the sunlight through the building. I mean, we got equipment in that building that's being rained on, and just the building's just literally falling down. And so after making a request, the manager and the finance director was able to find the funds to do that in an existing fund without any burden to the taxpayers. And so if you ride by the cemetery now, the pad's there, and there'll be a new building going up that'll greatly be appreciated by our employees as well as the folks that are caretaking out there, and it'll be a great improvement to the city. So again, thank you to our public works folks. I've already said a big thank you to our DGDC volunteers that help us. That's just phenomenal as well. Councilwoman Weeks brought up a while ago, speaking of the town hall that was in my district weekend before last. And I've mentioned before, I get calls frequently to go and speak to groups, various groups, and be able to share information. And this particular meeting was out in my district, in the Central Heights neighborhood, Tiffany Gardens neighborhood. But there was some folks there that were that had came and attended from other areas of the city, and that was great to have them there. I do know the event organizer told me, I've not seen it, but the event organizer told me that she did record that entire town hall, and it's available. It was a public recording that she done. I was happy to have Mayor Gaylor and our city manager Matt Livingston there on the panel with me. We also had Octavius was with us, and Councilwoman Weeps was there. Councilman White stopped by. It was a good event, and was able to share a lot of information, and it makes me happy to be able to do that. The event organizer's father came up to me after it was over with and said, "I learned more about city government today than I had known in my whole life." And that's because I'm willing to share that information. So again, I just wanted to report on that, and always continue to share that folks reach out to us if you've not heard of our 311 reporting system or you don't know how to use it. Let your council member or someone on staff tell you how to use that. It's an excellent tool to report any issues that are going on that you're concerned with related to the city. You can find it on the city's website, but I tell people the quickest way to get to it is go to Google and type in Goldsboro NC 311. It'll be the first thing that pops up. You can attach pictures to it. It guarantees you a response to your concern, and everybody that's using that is reporting back that they're very pleased. There's also the DOT has the same thing. I've got a lot of questions lately, and a lot of folks that are concerned with overgrowth of grass up and down the highway, and concerned with the stop sticks that are on Wayne Memorial Drive and these things. That we can all help you with that, to be able to say that's not a city street, that's a DOT maintained street, that's a DOT issue. But DOT has a reporting mechanism as well that I shared with someone 2 weeks ago about the grass situation, and they called me the next day and said someone had already responded. So I can't speak for DOT, but I'd like to, and I'll loop them into what I say about our employees. Our employees care. Whenever our citizens have a concern, people care. They want you to live a good quality of life in our city, be able to say that you've got something in return for your tax dollars that you have to pay, and we're here to serve you as well as the city's employees, and I'm just grateful to each and every one of them. Last but not least, just a couple of updates that I had mentioned before. Economic development is trudging along, and as I've mentioned, there's a lot of that stuff that I can't talk about along the way, but I will say what I usually say is there's good things happening. The wheels are turning behind the scenes. Happy to report that the wheels have just slowed down just a tick right now, because we have 2 shell buildings that we had available, because without shell buildings and without product, you don't have economic development on the industrial level. Well, one company, as was recently announced, has taken both of those buildings. So we're in a scramble right now to be able to come up with our next building and get it out of the ground. So those wheels are turning. As mentioned earlier, there was a sewer regionalization meeting that happened last week that was very productive. I serve as the vice chairman of that executive committee. County Commissioner Chris Gurley is the chairman for that. Matt's right there with us, and we're making progress on that particular subject, and good things are happening. So it's a good day and a good time to be a part of the city. A lot of good things happening. I thank everyone for their support. I'll touch on Facebook, since each and every other comment or council person up here has had an opportunity to say that, and I'll simply say, continue, if you are a citizen that goes to Facebook to watch our city council meetings, continue to go to Facebook and continue to watch our city council meetings there, as you have always done. I'm glad it was brought up about Channel 10. Back in the day, before all the internet and all that stuff, you didn't want to miss a council meeting, you had to go to Channel 10 and set your VCR. So things have progressed since then with the internet. But please go, if you always watched our council meeting on Facebook, continue to go to Facebook and do so. That's all my comments. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right. Following up on DOT conversation, there is another DOT project that there is a public comment or a public listening session for. Again, it's DOT. The elected body has been invited at a slightly different time. But either way, tomorrow evening from 5 to 7 at Greenwood Middle School, they'll be discussing part of the Ash Street redesign project that's from Oak Forest going east. So if you can think about you're driving down Ash Street, you cross over Berkeley, you keep on going, you've got all the different barbershops and salons, you pass in between the two schools, you come up to the next stoplight, that's Oak Forest. From there all the way out is looking at being completely redesigned, and could be a really, really positive thing for us. It's been funded, it's been pushed through the, it's called the STIP, I'll let y'all Google that later on. But it's been funded, so that's going to be a fantastic project. The Central Heights Royal Avenue realignment, that's on schedule. They're still finishing up a lot of the stuff that they can do without severely impeding traffic, at least more than they already are. And so, but that'll be done first of the year. I think they're looking at February as an actual turnover date, and having all of the utilities and the lights and all that fun stuff by then too. So fantastic work there. If folks are not aware, if you go to ncdot.gov, or you just simply go to Google and look up NCDOT Projects Goldsboro, it'll take you to an interactive map where you can see all the different projects that are underway, and then you can link through to be able to look at the engineer drawings and all that other fun stuff if you just really feel like kind of geeking out on some of that stuff, because we do have a tremendous amount of work happening through DOT on roads right here in and around Goldsboro. And then you couple that with what council was able to push through for the city streets this year. It's where I think we're going to be really making a big impact on the quality of our driving surfaces over the course of the next fiscal year. Mowing is catching up. I think that has already been mentioned, but we have gotten a lot of rain in the last month. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody. And so mowing crews, both city as well as DOT, got behind. I think y'all saw a lot of stuff get mowed late last week. Just as soon as some sun popped out, you saw a bunch of things getting mowed. So things are getting cleaned up there. And then I want to say a huge, huge, huge thank you to this community. We continue to shine our brightest when it comes to kids. These school supply drives, First African Baptist Church, y'all's was fantastic. It was absolutely awesome. Thank you again for what you do. Rural Contracting, unbelievable corporate citizens. Y'all are amazing people. Housing Authority for City of Goldsboro, y'all's drive, smashing success. And then Chauncey Douglas wanting to do something over in Seymour Johnson Homes. That's underneath the Eastern Regional Housing Authority, not under the City of Goldsboro Housing Authority. So just fantastic stuff. And I probably missed some others. Obviously, community supporting schools, huge, huge, huge drive. I just want to continue shedding light on the amount of work that this community does trying to support its kids, because that is the future of the community without any question. So with that, that concludes my comments. Mr. Lawrence, earlier you told me no closed session. Is that still true?
Still true.
Still true. No closed session. All right. So with that, the council will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, motion has been made. Is there a second? Motion has been made and properly seconded to adjourn. There's no debate on that motion. We'll call the vote. All in favor, let me just do it by hand. Ms. Reese, are you okay if I just do it by hand? All right. All in favor, please raise your hand. All opposed?